Redskins cruise toward the playoffs, their explosive offense will be lacking the services of an injured Art Monk. But Washington is versatile enough to withstand such a setback. While they're in complete command of their division, nothing would please them more than to thoroughly thrash their foes from Dallas today. And prepare for a war with the Redskins. We're live at sold-out RFK Stadium on an absolutely gorgeous December afternoon. I'm Pat Summerall here with John Madden. The Washington Redskins have clinched the NFC Eastern Championship. The others have a mathematical chance of getting into the playoffs, but it's highly unlikely. With that in mind, John, what do the Redskins want to accomplish today?
Well, we were talking to Joe Gibbs yesterday, and he said that they have 3 goals. And the first one is to get the home field advantage. And to do that, to get 1 game at home, they really have to win these final 3 games. And then he said the second thing they want to do is play consistently. They've clinched the division, but they haven't really been playing well. And he said he would like to get that consistency in the offensive line and the running game. Then the third thing is to peak at the end of the season. Because the teams that go to the Super Bowl are always the teams that are playing best at the end of the season. And
teams coached by Joe Gibbs have always been tough in December. What about this man? What about Tom Landry? Well, the turmoil in Dallas.
And he's had a tough week here. They've lost 3 in a row. There's been talk from the owner, Bum Bright, about Tom Landry, but Tex Schramm, Tom Landry, the whole Cowboy team. And that's what worries the Redskins, that these guys, they don't have anything to lose now. That they may come out here and be real loose and throw everything at them.
They're going to have to operate. They'll have the chance, I should say, to operate on offense first. Ali Haji Sheep will kick off for the Washington Redskins. Darryl Clack and Kevin Martin back deep for Dallas. Kelvin Martin. Good kick in the direction of Darryl Clack and chases him about 8 yards deep in the end zone, where he downs it from there. Danny White will open at quarterback. Another of the veterans who've been under fire in Dallas. This is the defensive line he'll be looking at. Mann and Manley, the defensive ends, and Dave Butson get Darrell Grant in the middle of the front 4. Linebackers Kaufman, Olkowitz in the middle, and Monty Coleman on the right side. And the secondary, and a good young secondary, Green and Wilburn the corners, Bowles and Walton the safeties. Danny White, 1st and 10, Dallas at their own 20. Emmy Newsom is the lone setback. Herschel Walker lined up in the slot to the left. Cosby, the tight end from White. Olkowitz on the tackle, but a first down Dallas. Danny White, the quarterback. Newsom and Walker open in the backfield. Kelvin Edwards and Mike Renfro, the wide receivers. And a rebuilt offensive line. Darrell Smith, Nate Newton, Rafferty, the veteran center. Crawford Kerr, Kevin Gogan, and Doug Cosby, who just caught the pass, 1st and 10. Dallas operating from their own 33 now. Danny White, the quarterback. Walker and Newsom switch sides. Cosby comes back in motion. In front of the Redskin bench, but enough for another first down and a pickup of 10.
You know, it's interesting that the Cowboys come out passing. Tom Landry says they want to control the line of scrimmage. You always think of the running game, but the other way you can do it is you can do it with a passing game. Start off 2 passes, get the defense off balance, start off with solid pass protection, then come to the run later.
1st and 10 Dallas. Now they've moved up to their own 44-yard line. And off right side, Walker. A gain of 1. Alvin Walton and Mel Kaufman make the stop.
Yeah, that's why the Redskins are so tough to run against now, is because of Alvin Walton. You know, what they do is they get him up there, and he's kind of half defensive back, half linebacker. And they get him up, and that gives them 8 men up in front. And I think right now, watching Walton play the last few weeks, he's probably the best strong safety in the league.
He made some spectacular plays 2 weeks ago against the Giants. Here's White going for Edwards. And incomplete, covered by Barry Wilburn. That'll bring up a 3rd down situation. The Redskins make their pass rushing changes.
Barry Wilburn there, we see he's tied for the NFL lead in interceptions, is probably the most improved player on the Redskin team. You know, last year he played some at corner, and everyone would pick on him. And this year, because of that experience from last year, they're picking on him, and they're finding there's not much there anymore.
That's a good young secondary. White out of the shotgun, gets it upfield, intended Renfro incomplete. The Cowboys will have to punt. Darrell Green, the defender.
I think Danny White forced that one a little. There are about 4 Redskin defenders around there.
Eric Yarber is back deep for Washington, checking out the win. Mike Saxon back to punt for Dallas. Plenty of time and a good kick by Saxon. It'll hang up there. Yarber breaks out of the pack for a moment, gets up to the 30, and the Redskins will take over from there. 34-yard punt, 7-yard return. Rafferty down to make the stop. That's Brooks, White, and Jeffcoat up front. New middle linebacker Ron Burton, Hegman and Rohr, the outside backers. And in the secondary, Everson Walls and Ron Francis, the cornerbacks. Downs and Bates, the 2 safety men. 1st and 10 Redskins at their own 30-yard line. Jay Schrader has George Rogers behind him. Donnie Warren on the move. Schrader back to throw it on 1st down. The pump fake. He has Ricky Sanders open over the middle. A pickup of 7. Everson Walls on the stop. Schrader, the quarterback. Rogers behind him. Ricky Sanders, Gary Clark, the wide receivers. Don Warren and Clint Didier, the 2 tight ends. Jacoby, McKenzie, Bostic, R.C. Thielman, and Mark May up front. Cowboy injured on the first play is Mike Hegman. And that's one of the places that they are very thin. Lockhart gone, now Hegman.
Yeah, the first Cowboys, play. Yeah, they came in today's game, and they of course used 3 linebackers in their 4-3 defense, and they only have 5 guys active. So I would imagine Jesse Penn will come in. But they're starting Ron Burton, who is a free agent rookie, then an outside linebacker. They're starting him at middle linebacker, and now Mike Hegman goes down early.
And you're right, Jesse Penn has replaced him, and Tom Landry over with the technicians over on the sideline having problems with his communication up to the press box to Paul Hackett.
And of course, we know the NFL rule. If his phone doesn't work, his communication, then the Redskins have to take it away from their sideline.
2nd and 2. The handoff is to Rogers, and Rogers barrels for the 1st down. Jeff Rohr made the stop. Rogers got 5.
Well, that's one area that the Redskins were talking about in their consistency, as he said, is to be able to get a running back and keep him in there. You know, George Rogers has really been hurt all year. He had a turf toe early, then he had a groin pull, and to get him back and going, last week he had 134 yards against the Cardinals.
And now they say he is just about 100% healthy. And the figures show. On 1st down, it's a fake to Rogers. A fake reverse for Gary Clark. Incomplete. He had a step. And maybe more.
You know, Jay Schrader is an amazing guy. I think that he is so strong, and early in the game he comes out and he's so pumped up that he always overthrows receivers early in the game. In fact, sometimes it goes all the way through the 1st half. And the difference between Jay Schrader in the 1st half and the 2nd half, when he finally settles down, is like night and day, like 2 different guys.
That's why he was replaced a few weeks ago.
That's a tough thing for the coach. Is it something he should replace, or is it something he'll work himself out of?
Well, Joe Gibbs said yesterday it's just something that I felt I had to do when he put Doug Williams in. 2nd down and 10. Redskins from their own 43. Schrader back to throw it. Almost picked off by Ron Francis out of the hands of Gary Clark. Sean, here's what you were talking about.
5 full games that he has started and played the whole game. You can see in the first half, he's averaging 78 yards of passing, and in the second half, almost double that number. I think part of that is Jay Schrader. I think the other part is good coaching. I think the Redskins probably make better adjustments than anyone else at halftime.
And part of it, too, I think, John, has to be that they've been behind and had to throw in the second half. Kelvin Bryant has replaced Rogers. Warren moves and stays in the block. Schrader stays in the pocket. Again, it's for Clark, and again, it's overthrown.
I'll tell you one thing, though. I think that this guy has an abundance of confidence. Jay Schrader, I'm talking about. He walks off the field. It doesn't even look like it bothers him. Just another Sunday. This is how I start every week, he says.
Steve Cox to do the punting for Washington, and Kelvin Martin back deep for Dallas. Cox has a very, very strong leg. Martin at the 10. Gets one block. Got 2 blocks. Flag on the play. They may not have been legal blocks. Way back up at midfield is one of the flags. 47-yard punt against the Redskins.
That's in the area where someone probably left early. I would think the Cowboys would make him kick it over again because they don't want to start inside the 20, and that's about as much leg as Cox has.
Referee is Gordon McCarter.
Ineligible downfield, number 58 on the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, repeat 4th down.
They'll make him kick it again, as you said. No score yet. 11:35 left in the first quarter. Washington and Miami usually are the fewest penalized teams in the NFL, and that again is another sign of good coaching.
Yeah, that was one stat that I never led the league in when I was coaching, unless you read the paper upside down.
Steve Cox now standing back at about his own 23, and Martin moves up to the 15. This one's not as good as the first one. Martin has to let it bounce, and it's going to go out of bounds at about the 25. So the strategy from Dallas viewpoint at least paid off on that one. A 38-yard punt that time.
Guys, but let's watch one of the outside guys. Here's Dennis Woodbury here. Now, the other team, the Cowboys, are going to put 2 guys on him. So what he's going to try and do is you have to take one of them on to beat and then get by him. So what he's going to try and do here is fake this way and come back this way. Now, of course, it doesn't work. And look what that outside guy, he's the only guy that can go when the ball snap, but look at what he has to go through. There's Victor Scott on him and Everson Walls. He didn't get 5 yards down the field.
He was not involved in the coverage in any way. First down, Cowboys at their own 25. The pitch is back to Walker, who loses the ball. And the Redskins come up with it. Charles Mann recovers Walker's fumble. He never had possession.
I always thought that was one of the toughest things to do is for the guy to be coming forward and get a pitch. I always thought if you're going to get a pitch, the guy ought to be going sideways or backwards. But you watch what happens here. Herschel Walker's coming into the line. So he's coming into the ball as it's pitched to him. And again, he doesn't get it in his hands out in front. He lets it get into his shoulder pads, and it just bounces off.
The pitch was a little bit high. My question is like yours, John. If you're going to do that, why not hand it to him?
I always did that. I always thought that if you're running between tackles and you're not going parallel, if you're going into the line, you hand it off. If you want to get it outside quicker, then you pitch it, but the guy goes parallel.
So it'll be Redskins ball at the Dallas 26, 1st and 10. 2:15 left to play in the first quarter, and the Redskins get the first break.
Here's where the Redskins would like to have John Riggins. Remember in those days when they had number 44 in there, they'd get on to 25 and hand it to him about 5 or 6 times, and they'd have a touchdown.
And they'd burn up 5 minutes or so.
You know, and since then, they've really never been the same type of team.
Ernie Stotner checking with Gordon McCarter about something. I'm not sure what.
I think it's that headset thing again, Pat, saying that theirs doesn't work, and that if theirs doesn't work, then they have to take the Redskins out.
Dallas's telephones went out temporarily. They're back in. No problem.
The referee, Gordon McCarter, just said Dallas's telephones went out temporarily, but now they're working again. So it's 1st and 10 at the Dallas 26. Jay Schrader. George Rogers, the deep back. Dallas changes their defense. That's Didier, the move man this time. Schrader fakes to Rogers. Going to work deep. Has Clark. Out of bounds at about the 1-yard line. A pickup of 25. Michael Downs was the Dallas defender.
Let's watch Gary Clark. He starts on the left side. He's just running a cross pattern. The closer you get to the goal line, the more difficult it is to run deep up the field because you have shorter yardage. So the way you use your speed is to go across the field. We see Clark going all the way across the field from left to right and catching the ball at the other side.
And it's 1st and goal at the 1. Rogers and Reggie Branch now are the 2 running backs. Rogers. No. Hit right at the line of scrimmage by Ron Burton, the new middle linebacker. No gain.
Now Rogers had a lead in there, but the lead didn't get the middle linebacker. Watch the play. We see Didier coming in motion. There's the lead block there, and then Burton from his middle linebacker spot sneaked in.
Burton replacing Eugene Lockhart. Bigger than Lockhart. Certainly not as experienced, but that's a fine tackle. 2nd and goal from the 1. Rogers again. Touchdown, Redskins. Schrader will hold for Ali Haji Sheikh. I asked the Sheikh yesterday who's the best holder he ever had, and he said Scott Bruner. I said why? He said because he had long arms and he could handle anything. Schrader's big as Bruner was.
This is the thing that Joe Gibbs was looking for. 1, a running back who's healthy, and 2, an offensive line working together like the old Hawks did.
10-29. Took just 3 plays after they recovered Herschel Walker's fumble. George Rogers took it in from a yard out. Ali Haji Sheikh's kick to Darrell Clack. Clack out to about the 24.
Let's watch the touchdown again. Here's George Rogers. Now watch Mark May here and R.C. Thielman. They're going to pick out one guy. They're going to double Too Tall Jones. And that's the place that Rogers is going to come in behind. But they get Too Tall going back and dump him here in the end zone. So what they do is the center's going to block onside Bostic. Then they double team one guy. See the double team? Boom, 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 boom. They just turn him over. And Rogers gets right in behind him.
1st and 10 Dallas from their own 24. Danny White back to throw. The screen passes to Newsom. Newsom, the Dallas 1st down outside the 40. Stopped by Todd Bowles. Pickup of 15.
I think a of all the teams in the NFL, the Cowboys probably still do this better than anyone. That's run a screen pass. You see it develop. They let the rushman come, and then they pull their linemen down the line, get the running back, in this case, Timmy Newsome, in behind him, and just follow that wedge down the field.
Rafferty got the good block on Alvin Walton. First down, Cowboys at their own 41. Tony Dorsett in the backfield for the Cowboys, and he swings wide to the right. Dorsett gets into Dallas territory. A pickup of 9, stopped by Wilburn and Walton.
I think the Cowboys felt last week that they should have played Tony Dorsett more. You know, they started playing him in the first half, and he was successful. Then they didn't play him in the second half.
Injured Redskin on the play is Monty Coleman, starting right outside linebacker. Kurt Govia will take his place if Coleman can't make it back.
One area that has really been playing well for the Redskins, and that's their defense. And of course, Monty Coleman is a big part of that. Monty Coleman on one side, Mel Kaufman on the other side. You see that Jack Kent Cook gets up and says, "What's going on down there?"
The owner of the Redskins checking out Monty legal about it.
Well, we can see it right here, Pat. He's right there to the right of the screen, number 51. And as he gets hit, he just backs out. And it looks here, watch, he grabs his left hamstring area, then his right hamstring area. So it looks like he either pulled both hamstrings at the same time or got a cramp in both legs at the same time.
In any case, number 51 was the injured Redskin who just walked off. He and Alvin Walton both limped off. It'll be 2nd and 1 as the Cowboys come out of the huddle in Washington territory at their 49. Newsome and Dorsett are the two runners, and Walker is split wide to the right. Newsome, the ball carrier, is hit by Darrell Grant before he even got back to the line of scrimmage. A flag on the play.
And it looks like they're going to call Tony Dorsett for illegal motion. Now, he can go in motion before the ball snaps.
Illegal motion. 2 men moving before the snap. Offense. Penalty declined. 3rd down.
So what he did was okay, because watch Tony Dorsett. He's the deep man in the eye. See, now the reason he can't go early now is because there's already one guy going in motion. So what Dorsett did was okay, but because there was 2 of them, that made it illegal.
Cosby was the other man. Monty Coleman, by the way, headed for the Redskin locker room. Here's White back to throw. Herschel Walker will have the first down, a pickup of 7.
Herschel Walker, you talk about a valuable guy. They line him up all over the place, and you see that when you take the receptions that he has, 557 yards, then when you add his running, he's the biggest threat that these Cowboys have. Sometimes he's the only threat that they have. But they line him up all over the field,
which he doesn't necessarily like. Here's White back to throw it again. Intended for Cosby, who got one hand on it but couldn't hang on. Alvin Walton.
I'll tell you, let's watch Walton on that play. You see where he is. He's standing up in there. If it's a run, he can plug a hole. Now when he sees it's a pass, he can drop straight back in the middle and then react to the ball. He sees it going to Cosby. Now, he's not going to get the ball. He said, "I'll take Cosby's belt buckle."
The word on Mike Hegman, by the way, is for the Cowboys is that he has a bruised calf. Don't know if he'll be back or not. Charles Mann bolts into the Cowboy backfield, grabs Danny White. Monty Coleman has gone in to be x-rayed for bruised ribs. flag down on that last play.
Encroachment, number 71 defense.
On Charles Mann.
You're watching Charles Mann this year. He looks a lot quicker than he did in the past.
Snap, still second down.
And Joe Gibbs was telling us yesterday that of the defensive linemen, Charles Mann has been his most consistent player.
Not as vocal as Manley, but much more consistent. Kelvin Martin split wide to the left and Renfro's wide right. Walker comes in motion. White back to throw. Gets it outside quickly to Walker. Incomplete. He dropped it. For an NFL update, now let's see. The Cowboys are in the first quarter, and it's 7-0 Washington. Here comes Mann again into the backfield. He is quicker, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, on those two plays, he beat the ball. He's pointing at Kevin Gogan, though, the offensive tackle, saying that he moved.
Kevin Gogan is 6'7" and 310. And if he moves, he'd get your attention.
Sometimes you just jiggle when you're that big.
Encroachment, 71 offense. Defense.
Well, of course, that's the second one on Mann.
The second encroach. That's going to be close to a first down. It has to be first down, doesn't it? 2 5-yard penalties.
Yeah, I don't know how they can be short on the sticks.
Consecutive 5-yard penalties make it 1 and 10.
That's right.
Thank you.
What, 5 and 5 is 10? Nah. Yeah, it is. They were going to give him 2 5-yard penalties and have him end up in short yardage.
Third down.
You could go 5 and 5 is 10. 2 times 5 is 10. You can do that a number of ways.
Oh, it's a first down, Dallas. They're at the Redskins 33. Handoff is to Walker, and Walker is down near the 30. Charles Mann made the tackle now. He encroached twice, and now he makes the tackle.
Mann wants some action. He's over there, and you get a defensive lineman on a passing down, and of course he's trying to beat that tackle on the setup. And now they figured they got Mann all upset, they'll just run right at him. Because it doesn't do any good when he makes a play like that. Watch him down there in the bottom. He just takes on Gogan, works out, and then comes in and finishes off Walker.
2nd and 7. Walker's the deep back, and Newsom is in front of him. He hands to Walker. And Walker barrels down before he's stopped by Alvin Walton. 6 or 7. Going to be close to another Dallas first down.
That time, instead of Gogan blocking on Charles Mann, they turned out with big Crawford Kerr. And Kerr just pushed him out. Let's see if we can see it here. Here's Crawford Kerr here. He just goes boom. Then the ball comes right inside there. Kerr's the guard, steps out, blocks him out, and then that gives him the hole to run in.
They bring out the sticks to measure. About a foot short. Just over 7 minutes remaining first quarter. And the Redskins leading 7-0. A 1-yard touchdown run by George Rogers.
This is the type of drive that Tom Landry likes, you know, where you have good mixture, you pass a few, you run a few, you pick up a couple of penalties, you keep the thing going. Don't have third and long, but end up, if you're going to on third down, have it be real short.
They go with two tight ends, Chandler on the right side, Cosby on the left. That's Edwards in motion. The handoff is to Timmy Newsom, and that should be enough. Govea made the stop.
Well, I guess the phones are working now. See what they do. You know, we see more and more of that in the NFL where you have two guys signaling. That was Paul McDonald and Steve Pellor, both backup quarterbacks. Because teams are starting to get the signal, steal the signals and get them into their defense. So they have one live guy doing it and then one who's putting up a dummy call.
Here's White back to throw. No place to go, and now Danny White is cut down at the 20 by Alvin Walton again.
I watched that Alvin Walton, and I said I think right now that he's the best strong safety in the NFL. And the thing that he does best is tackle in the open field. I mean, when he gets them and he zeroes in on them and he sights them, watch that hole Danny White sees. He makes a nice move there. Now watch Alvin Walton in the open field. That guy is going to go down.
White got two, make it 2nd and 8. Redskins on a blitz. Outside Renfro, and Renfro out of bounds at about the 12. Darrell Green, the defender. But a gain of 10, and that will move the sticks again. Another Dallas first down.
You know, like Tom Landry says about Mike Renfro, just one word, pro. And you can just see that. I mean, they have that. They need the first down. He gets just in front of that first down marker when he catches the ball.
He's had as good a year this year as he's ever had.
It's going to be his last year. He's already said before he started he's going to retire.
I wonder if he still will. As good a year as he's had.
Okay, that's not a bad time to do it.
That's
retire
right.
after a good year rather than 1 year too long.
White back to throw it again. In the corner for Walker, flag on the play. White was hit by man just as he let it go.
You know, the interesting thing, we talk about man and how close he's getting to the quarterback and jumping offside, but we haven't heard from Dexter Manley yet, and he's playing against a rookie free agent in Darrell Smith.
Darrell Smith came in a couple of weeks ago and did an excellent job after Mark Tuinei went down.
And remember, we had him in the replacement game.
Hitting the use of the hands, number 66, offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat the down.
66, that's Kevin Cogan. He's the guy that's blocking man. So they're taking turns. Man got 2 penalties, and then Cogan takes 1.
They got something going on. First and 20. Cowboys at the Redskin 21. 4:20 left to play in the first quarter. Newsom had a message for Dorsett. The handoff is to Dorsett. And Tony gets down to about the 11-yard line. A pickup of 9 and a fine run.
I think that's what Newsom told him. Start into the left, Tony, and then cut back right. You know, we were talking to Dorsett here about a month ago, and he says when he gets the ball and he comes into the line right there, he sees all 11 men. He said he sees the whole defense. And I believe that. I mean, there's some guys that have that periphery vision that's just amazing. And Tony Dorsett is one of those guys. That's why you never get a clean hit on him.
2nd and 11. White again gives to Dorsett. Dorsett inside the 5. Stopped by Todd Bowles, but another gain of 9.
See the same type of thing. Here's Tony Dorsett. Now, look at those eyes. I mean, he's looking there, and then out of the sides, he can see the whole thing. Then they give him the draw. Now watch, he sees and feels the defense, starts left, cuts back right, comes right, cuts back left. Because he sees the angles where those guys are coming from.
3rd and 3, make it. You know, the amazing thing, John, to me was he says he practices that when he's driving the car.
Just looking and straight ahead and then seeing how far back you can see on both sides.
Timeout, Dallas. The crowd, as always here, very loud and very enthusiastic.
You know, this third and long, when you get 3rd and 3, that's really long yardage. So this is a passing situation for the Cowboys.
New Orleans continues to surprise a lot of people, but they're a pretty good team. Buffalo over Indianapolis. New England beating the Jets. That's a strange team. There's Kevin Gogan. That gives you. He filled up the helmet.
He weighs about 315 pounds. And that's one thing that, you know, we were talking to Tom Landry last night, and I think there's a couple things he feels good about. And one, that he's developing a lot of big, strong offensive linemen. He likes his running backs, of course, with Herschel Walker. Likes his wide receivers that he has. And he says in the draft, he says we need some defense. That's what we have to pick up.
Total offense, Dallas, 97 yards. This drive alone, they've had the ball 7.5 minutes in this drive. Walker and Newsom. This is White to throw. Intended Renfro, incomplete. Broken up by Darrell Green.
There's the guy who has the emotion to play this game, Darrell Green. I think that's what it's all about. I mean, you talk about a fiery guy, a scrappy guy. He has all that speed, but just look at those eyes. Those are happy eyes. I mean, those are eyes of a guy who enjoys playing the game and plays it the way you should. I mean, he has fun. He goes out there, it's a game. We're playing somebody.
He really does. He knows how to laugh. Roger Ruzek with Steve Pallure holding. This will be a 22-yard field goal attempt to get the Cowboys on the board. 2:55 left to play in the first quarter. The Redskins leading 7-0. They went 72 yards and took 7 minutes and 37 seconds off the clock.
It's been so long that the offense, we see Eric Yarber there, they have to stretch him out again, get him going. We're putting some air in him.
What good was the warm-up?
Yeah, that's right. They've been sitting there. Things start tightening up. You have combinations and stuff.
Get a lot of them.
We'll have another warm-up.
Ruzek's 22-yard field goal. There's a story of that Dallas drive. Helped out by 2 5-yard penalties for jumping offside by Eric Mann, and then Kevin Gogan got caught holding Eric Mann, and Charles Mann, not Eric Mann. What am I saying? He works for us.
But those two guys had a heck of a battle all the way down the field, didn't they?
Yeah.
Gogan and Mann.
Ruzek's kick goes to Clarence Verdun. And a flag on the play after a return of 18 yards. Everson Walls made the stop. Been a busy first quarter for Gordon McCarter.
Illegal block from behind, number 54 receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
There you see it right there in the middle of the picture. I tell you, that is so difficult on these kicks, because you start and you have a guy in your sights, and then when he moves a little, now you're blocking his side or his back.
All he has to do is turn just a bit, and you're illegal.
Seems like on the kicks, they have that penalty.
Rogers straight ahead. It's 2nd and 2. And Rogers again gets the carry. And he gets the yardage necessary for the first down. He's again stopped by Rohr after a gain of 7.
This is the type of thing that the Redskins want to do. Here you see the I formation. Now, that's not a fullback in front of Rogers. That's Clint Didier there. So what they do is they just go man blocking. They have the lead outside. Rogers can just pick a hole. He runs up in there, then he sees a soft spot to his inside and breaks it in. But the Redskin offensive line won that battle on the line of scrimmage.
1st and 10, Washington. Schrader back to throw it. Gets it outside to Donnie Warren. Vince Albritton on the stop.
Yeah, here's their changing of the offense. You know, the Redskins, if you look in 82 and 83, when they went to the Super Bowl, they were 54% of the time they ran the ball, 46% passing. Then in 83, they were 57% running. They were really a running team, 43% passing. And now they're only 48% running and 52% passing.
There's one of the reasons.
I think that's a big reason, because the Redskins in those Super Bowl years, they'd just take the ball. As I said, they'd get it there in the 25 or 30 and just give it to Riggins 5 or 6 times, and boom, then they start playing the Redskin fight song. There was a man. There is a man.
You're not kidding. Got on his Kansas leather sweater from his collegiate days. Yes, sir. He was a player. And again, there's a problem apparently with the phone system on the Dallas sideline.
We're having a telephone problem.
That's Ernie Stautner, the defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, who seems to be having the problem.
And as you pointed out before, if one side, if the Dallas phones go out and they can't get them fixed, then the Redskins have to not utilize their phone system. Charlie Taylor in the foreground. Joe Gibbs behind him in the glasses.
I don't see any headsets on that Redskins sideline, because Joe Gibbs has already taken his headset off. There it is. Don Burrow was next to him.
Encouraging report from the X-ray facility here at RFK Stadium. The X-rays on Monty Coleman were negative.
There's an operation being done right on the sideline where Darrell Grant, that is a defensive tackle, just blew out his pants. He got that knee thing and stuff just started coming out of the pants, so they just sewed it up right there.
That was a big thread. And the crowd's starting to get a little bit upset about the delay. Dave Butts, nothing bothers him.
Well, it shouldn't. He's the oldest active player in the NFL.
And he is active. Now the phone problem, they say to us, has been corrected. That's the oldest active helmet in the NFL. I'll guarantee you that. Dallas 2 up in phone problems. 2nd down and 4. Redskins at their own 33, leading 7-3. Schrader on counter tray. Rogers behind May and Thielman. Thielman gets 4 yards.
You know, that's the old counter tray, as you called it, where what they're going to do is they pull the off guard and the off tackle, pull them this way, the back starts this way, and then gets in behind them. So we'll see Thielman, R.C. Thielman, the right guard and the right tackle pull to the left. See, here they come. Rogers just gets right in behind them and makes that cut.
The U.S. Olympic Training Centers. The heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet. And by RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
Pat Summerall, John Madden, the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Redskins in our nation's capital. RFK Stadium sold out. 3rd and 1 Redskins. They're at their own 37. Jay Schrader, the quarterback. Rodgers hit right at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if he made it or not. Kevin Brooks and Jeff Rohr, Bill Bates all converge right there. Brooks was the first man to hit him. That's going to be close.
Well, again, when you get down here, you see how tight everyone gets in there. You see how tight the defensive line is, the offensive line. Defensive line trying to get penetration. Offense trying not to give up. That one, the defensive line won in the penetration battle. I would think that shouldn't be a first down.
They brought the sticks out to measure. That is not a first down.
Yeah, that's the thing. Your offensive line has to win that battle. On that one, the Redskin offensive line didn't win it. The Cowboy defensive line won.
Led by Brooks. Joe Gibbs obviously unhappy about that. Steve Cox comes in. First kick went 37 yards. Kelvin Martin back deep for the Cowboys.
They even brought in an extra coach. Remember, they brought in Paul Lanham a couple of weeks ago. He's still here with them. Joe Gibbs was saying that's one of the problems that they had, or one of the biggest problems they had. You always think of your offense and your defense, and sometimes you forget that special teams can lose games for you, too.
Lanham is going to stay the rest of the year. The Redskins
field, number 58 kicking team, penalty decline, touchdown.
Well, you heard the call. And the Cowboys decline it. 7-3. We're in the second quarter now with 14-12 left to play. Washington leads. They recovered a fumble by Herschel Walker at the 26-yard line and took it in from there in 3 plays. Renfro comes out wide to the left. Newsome comes out with him. Calvin Edwards is split wide to the right. Fake to Walker. Pass to Cosby, and Cosby got some room. Todd Bowles knocked him out of bounds, but he gets 28 yards and a Dallas first down.
Yeah, there's a guy who's always been one of the best receiving tight ends in the league, and it seems like the last couple of years the Cowboys have gotten away from him. And I think anytime you have a target like that big, that you have to get the ball to him. Because you can always see him in there, you can always find him, and he can always get those first downs, that possession type thing. I think one of the Cowboys' offensive problems they've had is getting away from Doug Cosby.
Here's Walker over the right side, lunges down to about the 40. Gain of 3 yards. Stopped by Alvin Walton again. .45 left to play in the first half. The Eagles, Dolphins tied. New England overwhelming the Jets. Cleveland over Cincinnati at 2nd and 7. Washington leading Dallas 7-3. White back to throw, has a man. Pass incomplete. It's Rod Barksdale. Darrell Green on the coverage, but it bounced off the ground.
You know, one thing, that the Cowboys have been doing. Watch Dexter Manley here. He's going to start. Grant's coming this way. Manley's going to go in this way. But they've really done a good job. That's Darrell Smith, the left tackle. You see him. He starts in. Newton gets him there. And then Darrell Smith just goes out on Grant. They do as they zone now. But they're doing a good job on that left side of keeping Grant and Manley off the quarterback.
Wilja is the center now for Dallas, and he was part of that blocking as well. Here's White. Renfro, the intended receiver, but he fell down. When he made his cut, he just slipped to the ground. Saxon comes on to punt. Eric Yarber goes back deep, standing at his own 10-yard line, number 80 for the Redskins. Saxon will punt from his 40.
Remember when they used to have Stickum? Now they all have those gloves, and the gloves have the same type of thing as Stickum on them.
Just doesn't look as bad. Saxon hangs it high. They let it bounce. It hit somebody in the head. That's Jeff Rohr rolling in the end zone.
I think that's who it hit in the head. I think it hit Jeff Rohr in the head. Whap! Ball hits him in the head. Things are falling on me in this place. I'll do a somersault.
Now there's an athlete. George Rogers, the deep back for the Redskins on 1st and 10. Schrader fakes to him. Looking upfield, incomplete. He was hit. It was intended for Gary Clark. Kevin Brooks nailed Schrader just as he let it go.
You know what happens, I think, when you don't have a running game or you don't have that thing we're talking about, the Redskins, it looks like you don't have emotion. It looks like you're not emotional. I mean, guys aren't jumping all over the place, running up to the line of scrimmage. You get a passing game, and it's more passive. And I think one of the bad things a passing game does is kind of suck emotion out of you.
Cowboys had 12 men on the field. Now they got rid of one of them. They got Bates covering Didier wide to the right. Schrader doesn't look in that direction. He overthrows his intended receiver, is Ricky Sanders, and he had a couple of steps on Everson Walls. A reminder again, coming up next on CBS, game 2 of our doubleheader, the Giants at St. Louis, Atlanta and the Rams, and Detroit against Tampa Bay. Third down and 10. Monty Coleman, by the way, was injured earlier in the game, has returned to the Redskins sideline. Schrader is 3 out of 8. On 3rd and 10, he'll throw it again. Going deep. And this time he gets Gary Clark. But almost no way to overthrow that one. Ron Francis on the coverage. They'll pick up a 47.
Well, that's the type of offense it is now. You throw a couple incomplete passes, you don't run. You just put Gary Clark, one of the best wide receivers in the game, out there on a rookie, Ron Francis. Just have him run as fast as he can, and you throw it as far as you can. But it all starts with this pass protection. You have to give the quarterback time to throw a deep pass. You have to give him time to throw it. You have to give him time to look, to step up, and to get rid of it. And that's what the Redskins did. Joe Jacoby having a big year.
One of his best, and he's had some good ones. 1st and 10 at the Dallas 34. And off to Rogers. Rogers runs left, stopped by Jim Jeffcoat after a gain of 3.
Well, you talk about a changing of the guard. I don't know if anyone talked about it, but I think we're seeing one here now with the Cowboys. As you look at number 73 in the blue there, Danny Noonan, the #1 draft choice of the Cowboys. I think he's in the process now of replacing Randy White. And, you know, and everyone says, I mean, the guy has everything. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, weightlifter type of guy. Look at those arms hanging out of that shirt. I got some arm on it.
2nd and 7. They give to Rogers again. Jesse Penn, who replaced Mike Hegman, made the stop, a gain of 4.
You know, one of the things that the owner of the Cowboys said about last week, Bum Bright, he said, hey, we're paying this Noonan guy a lot of money. We drafted him #1. We ought to play him more. And we'll see him out there today.
Dexter Manley has gone to the oxygen.
I remember in the old days when all they had over there in the sideline was a water bucket.
A bucket. And they had a dipper.
Yeah.
Schrader gets it outside to Clark. Clark cuts back inside. Very close to another first down. A gain of 4. Victor Scott made the stop on Clark. First down.
You know, we were talking to Joe Gibbs about Clark yesterday. He said 4 things. He said he's fiery, he's tough, he's quiet, and he's stubborn. Those are 4 pretty good ingredients. I mean, that makes an all-Madden team, I think, especially the last one. You know, when you hit a guy who's quiet and tough and stubborn, that's someone you like to deal with.
Another thing about him, John, you know, when he's sick the day before the game, you better look out. Because he's going to be great the next day. Rogers to the outside. Rogers inside the 15 to about the 12 before he's brought down by Jesse Penn. Rogers got 10.
Hey, watch this. Here's Joe Jacoby right here, the guy we were talking about, and it starts right there. Donnie Warren's coming in motion to help out. Watch, you see what Jacoby does to Jeffcoat. He gets a stalemate, runs him right down the line. That gives a corner that Rogers can get around.
Jacoby is so big, it looks like it's difficult for him to get down in a stance even. And Rogers again hit behind the line of scrimmage by Jeffcoat. So Jeffcoat got even. And Noonan with an assist. A loss of 1. At Summerall here with John Madden. We're at RFK Stadium in Washington, which is always sold out. And it is again today. Somehow, well, of course, the Cowboys' frustrating year, their record of 5-7. This game didn't capture the wild emotion that it usually does, but it still got a lot of attention.
Well, Dexter Manley said during the week he wished Gorbachev would get out of town so they could get back to the rivalry of the football games.
He says Dallas, Washington, this game is bigger than the Summit. Outside to Clint Didier. No gain, maybe even a loss on that pass completion. Stopped by Vince Albritton. And there is the hitting machine, Eugene Lockhart, who played almost 2 quarters last week before he realized he had a broken leg.
Hey, and Tom Landry didn't find out about it until he was doing a radio show, and someone gave him a note. He just took the note and crumpled it up and threw it down, and saying that's the type of year it's been. Because really, the middle linebacker runs that Cowboy defense.
31 yards away for Ali Haji Sheikh. Good. For 35 years has been with the Redskins training. Long-time good friend of mine, John's, and everybody associated with football, and we wish you well, Joe, as do all the fans. Darryl Clack at the 9-yard line. Outside the 30 to about the 33. Darrell Green on the stop. 23-yard return by Clack. 10-3. Redskins lead the Cowboys. Washington scoring drive. They occupied a lot of time on the clock. 5.5 minutes.
course, the big play on that drive for the Cowboys was when Jim Jeffco got that penetration and threw him for a loss.
Here's White back to throw. Screen pass coming Dorsett's way. Dorsett around the corner. Very nearly a first down before he's brought down by Darrell Green. Stops the clock as he's knocked out of bounds with 7:25 left to play in the first half.
You know, the question I always had about the Cowboys after they got Herschel Walker is why they had to make a decision between Walker and Dorsett. I think that there's always a place for both of them. And when you have speed and talent, the way Walker and Dorsett both have, I think you find a way to get them both in the game as much as you can. I don't think that's a big decision.
Nope. Second and about a yard. And White goes outside quickly to Cosby behind him. Dorsett went out of bounds. Here's the attempt for the first down, and I don't know if Walker got it or not. He is knocked backwards. I don't think he made it. Marcus Cook led the defense. Anyway, what I started to say, go ahead, John, I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. Again, you see that the Redskins on that one won that battle on the line of scrimmage. The Cowboys didn't get the movement at the point of attack nor away from the point of attack. So I'll tell you, on these short yardage situations, these are big downs, and the defense is winning those battles.
What I started to say a minute ago is on the screen pass to Dorsett, Vernon Dean, who wasn't even in the game, got hurt. He was standing in front of the Redskin bench, and when the pile came out of bounds, he limped out of it.
Yeah, he was standing up there in the sideline because Vernon Dean is one of those guys who goes in that nickel package. He was standing up there getting ready to go in.
Saxon. The kick to Eric Yarber. Feels it at the 20. He shakes away from one man, and he's caught in a sandwich. Jesse Penn and Todd Fowler. Surprised he survived.
That is one of those things that you call a decleater. There's a penalty flag down there, too. They're getting that straightened out. But watch him. Rafferty is underneath him. Jesse Penn is on top of him. And they've just given him a pile driver.
And then Fowler arrived. They were trying to plant him.
Ineligible downfield, number 50 kicking team. Penalty declined, 1st and 10.
155 pounds. You have to get up, you have to run off, and you have to smile. Because watch what the Cowboys did to him. Watch Jesse Penn here when they take him up, and they just try and plant him at RFK Stadium.
Wow.
He jumped up, ran off smiling, and said, hey, I took their best shot.
First down they give to Rogers, and Rogers is hit behind the line of scrimmage. Danny Noonan hit him behind the line, didn't bring him down. Jesse Penn did. White is 7 out of 15 for 95 yards. Schrader 6 out of 11 for 90. There's Alvin Walton. That's it. That'll get you on the All-Madden team, that haircut, won't it?
Well, I think if you do something with it, you know, I mean, part of it is having it, then what you do with it. And it's what Walton does with it more than having it that'll get him on the team, I think. They're in computers now again.
Schrader has Clark again, and he's open again. Ron Francis and Everson Walls bring him down, but a gain of 33. See how he got so open.
I think Francis was on his zone. You see Francis come up to bump, then he's going to have deep help over there from Everson Wall. And I think Schrader just threaded the needle and hit him between the short guy and the deep guy, because Clark got by too quickly on Francis. When you get up like that, you have to get a hit on the guy.
Clark has 4 catches for 107 yards. First down, Redskins. Didier on the move this time, and Schrader is going to throw. Ducks under too tall Jones. Gets away from another man, and finally Noonan and Bates.
Bates is in there. He wants to go against Jacoby.
I don't think he really does.
He'd be outweighed half again. He'd be outweighed by about 150, 200 pounds on that deal. He's one of those scrappy guys for the Cowboys. He's a strong safety, a lot like Walton is. You know, and that seems to be a trend in the NFL, getting that half defensive back, half linebacker. So when you go to 8 men up, you have an extra linebacker there, like a Bates and like a Walton.
Schrader finally gets everybody set. Sanders is the man in motion finally. Schrader in the pocket, incomplete. Intended for Kelvin Bryant out of the backfield. There was some question about whether or not he'd be able to play. Pass incomplete.
I think, you know, when we were talking to Joe Gibbs yesterday, he said that he would like to get Bryant in there a little and play him some, but he doesn't want to get him beat up. And I think when he does play him, he's going to use him in that capacity as a pass receiver.
He and Rodgers both have been beat up throughout the year, and now Keith Griffin, who backs them both up, has had his problems. Third down. They need 10 from the Dallas 41. Here comes the blitz. Pass is complete again to Clark, but not nearly enough for a first down. A pickup of only 4. Dallas blitz the cornerback, Victor Scott. Watch him come from the outside.
Well, here's what Schrader sees. See, he sees the corner coming on a blitz. So once he sees that, he said, I want to go to the area where this corner vacated. And I hope that I get rid of the ball before he gets there. You see, he sees the blitz coming. Whap, he's just going to throw it out there before the blitz got there. Of course, Dallas won that one because it was too short for a first down.
And Steve Cox comes in to punt for the Redskins. Melvin Martin back deep for Dallas. Signals fair catch. Redskins had it covered. We're down there, and the ball just bounced away from Brian. First down, Dallas. Danny White, the quarterback. And again, the Redskins encroach. Or so it would appear.
I think what happened then is they saw the motion man go by. It was Doug Cosby.
Encroachment. Defensive left tackle, 5 yards.
I think that's either Butts or man, but they got a double encroachment over there. Now watch what happens. You see Cosby coming. He stops, delay starts again. And as he goes by him, Dave Butts jumps. And then on the top of the screen, here comes Charles Mann for his 3rd encroachment of the day.
That brings up a 1st and 5. Redskins leading Dallas 10-3. Kelvin Edwards split wide to the left. Cosby again in motion. Pitches back to Walker. Walker breaks out of the pack. Flag on the play. Walker got good yardage, enough for a first down, but a penalty marker down. Darrell Green made the stop.
Dave Butts gave the holding signal, and the referee gave the holding signal.
Holding, number 66 offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Gogan.
And that's right at the point of attack. Kevin Gogan is number 66. He's the outside guy right there. He's the guy blocking man. You see his left hand up there? He got a bunch of cloth in it. And then he got a stranglehold that could turn into a sleeper hold.
I think that was a good call. Here's Walker again. Alvin Walton tripped him up.
I think up there in that right side, that Cogan and Mann, I think they've broken a record for a halftime of penalties against them. So the Cowboys say, look, we got too much stuff going in. Let's go back to the left and we'll try it over there. Good block there by Nate Newton. In fact, it was a great block. Nate Newton on Darrell Grant.
And by Darrell Smith. Walker again. Not much room this time, but he is near first down yardage. Mel Kaufman tripped him up. A gain of 1. Olkowitz with an assist. It is a first down, Dallas. Packers and Vikings still tied. New Orleans 14-3 over Houston, and Cleveland overwhelming Cincinnati. Speaking of strange teams, the Bengals, everybody says, have great talent, but it doesn't seem to work.
A lot of strange teams in the league this year.
That's right. Danny White back to throw and going deep for Walker. Incomplete. Todd Bowles and Alvin Walton back there with Herschel.
Hey, when Herschel Walker goes deep, that will draw a crowd. That not only got the free safety over there, but just
Pat Summerall and John Madden at RFK Stadium. Tell you what, John, that Darrell Smith has done a good job on Dexter Manley.
Well, you know, the Redskins haven't had a sack yet in the first half. I think this entire Cowboy line is doing a good job.
White struggles out of the pocket, and there is the first sack.
Yeah, you always mention that. The first time you say it, you know it's going to come. And one of the guys who flushes him out right here is going to be Dexter Manley on the rush. He doesn't get him, but he's the first guy there, and he's the guy that makes Danny White bring the ball down and run it. You see him here, he just goes outside of Smith. Now right here, see, Danny White knew that was coming, then he started up, and then the linebacker, Mel Kaufman, made the tackle, or the sack.
Brings up a 3rd and 11. White gets it upfield. Incomplete, intended for Barksdale. Dennis Woodbury on the coverage. Incomplete.
I think Danny White did a good job just getting that ball out of there and doing anything with it. The snap didn't get to him. When he finally got it, he just turned and threw it as far as he could.
Everything was out of sync. Mike Saxon in the punt. Eric Yarber, who took some violent treatment the last time he returned to punt. Redskins, by the way, have all of their timeouts remaining. Almost blocked, and a flag on the play. Redskins almost got it. In fact, they might have gotten a piece of it. Only 27 yards. Raven Caldwell is the man who really put the pressure on Saxon.
I'm sure that's one that the Redskins won't take. It's against the Cowboys, but they don't want them to kick that one over.
Ineligible downfield, number 36 kicking team. Penalty declined, 1st and 10.
Vince Albritton, we're live at RFK Stadium in Washington, the home of the Redskins, and they lead the Cowboys by the score of 10-3. 1 minute, 8 seconds remaining in the first half. Washington has all of their timeouts left.
I'll tell you, this is a situation that's made for Jay Schrader. You know, I mean, he has time. He's towards midfield. He likes to air it out. He has Gary Clark there, and you can expect that's what he's going to do.
That's Didier who comes in motion. Schrader going for Clark, who's wide open. Clark, touchdown. Haji Sheik for the extra.
Walls keeps his head and his eyes looking in here all the time, and he doesn't even get back with Clark. Watch him. He's standing in there. He's looking into the backfield. He keeps looking, and by now, Gary Clark's 5 yards behind him. That's unbelievable. You have to do something. You either have to bump him or you have to cover him. Because, like I said, this guy is a dangerous, dangerous guy.
Well, I don't know if he was expecting help from somewhere or what, but he kept looking into the backfield, and Clark just went right by him, as you said. Ali Haji Sheik to kick it off. Kelvin Martin. And a flag on the play again. 11-yard return. Brian Davis made the stop. Redskins 17, Dallas 3.
I was just saying, you see that Dean Hamill walking off the field, number 78? You don't see too many 290-pound cover guys.
Yes.
There's Dean Hamill.
You don't see many guys that size running down on kickoffs and punts in this league.
He might make the All-Madden team.
Yeah, he has a good chance. Big guys covering.
Multiple fouls, holding, receiving team, personal foul, illegal roadblock, 36 on the receiving team. The major penalty will be accepted. First down.
That's serious.
Let's just watch Dean Hamill there, number 78, running down the field. Again, he gets ready. He gets all set to take on a block. The guy doesn't come there. There's a block by Newsom. He just stops him in his tracks and said, there's the guy. They got double fouls against the Redskins.
Against the Cowboys.
For the Redskins.
For the Redskins.
Fouls for the Redskins. All that stuff, big 290, 300-pound guy running down the field. The other team's double fouling him.
First down, Dallas, with 55 seconds left to play in the first half. White back to throw. Gets it outside to Renfro. Drags his toes inbounds. Dennis Woodbury on the coverage.
That's what I said. That situation there, that last one was just made for Jay Schrader. Now you see here that after the penalty, and of course the Redskins, now with the time, they're just getting soft and just letting them have those things short in front of them.
That's Renfro, who went out of bounds and hit the drum, I think, for the band that's getting ready to play at the half.
They can see it there right on top of the screen. He catches the ball. He's thinking about his feet, keeping both feet in bounds, and little does he think there's going to be a drum there he runs into. Well, that is something. You know, you come to RFK Stadium, you expect a lot in this rivalry.
Right.
But you think they'd keep the band off the field until the halftime's over.
Speaking of halftime, coming up at the half today, the NFL Today with Brent Nerve, scores and highlights. Also a look at Detroit leaving the Lions' den. Detroit was known for years as a hotbed of football, but no longer. Here's Danny White. Up the middle for Walker. Incomplete. Todd Bowles collided with Walker. And the clock is stopped with 44 seconds remaining.
Now here's where Dexter Manley is really at his best. When he knows that you have to pass, because he's a pass rusher. You see, Darrell Smith does a good job against him. And he gets help there at the end from Newton. Because that's when Manley is really dangerous when he can get that foot back and sprint up the field on you. But the Cowboys have really been doing a good job against him this first half.
Here's White back on second down. Again, White just barely gets rid of it. He's hit just as he let it go. Tony Dorsett caught the pass, and Charles Mann put a hit on Danny White.
Well, watch Charles Mann. You know, Danny White's trying to hold the ball as long as he can. Watch Mann working on Gogan. White says, now I better get rid of it because here's Mann. Tell you, that's why a quarterback has to be tough. You know, I mean, they get a lot of money and they get a lot of glory and they get these things, but to stand in there and throw the ball when you know that collision is coming up, you have to be a tough guy.
And totally unprotected. There's nothing you can do. Here's White again. Renfro has it and gets out of bounds in front of the Dallas bench and stops the clock after a gain of 30. Monty Coleman, who's back in the game, and Todd Bowles got him out of bounds.
You don't see that happen often. Renfro turned around to straight arm Coleman, who was behind him. Usually the straight arm is a guy who's in front of you or on the side of you. But watch Mike Renfro here. He's going to run up, make him think he's going deep. Then he's going to run a hook pattern. Just stop, come back. Now watch, here comes Coleman. Watch, he turns around. He straight arms from behind. I don't know that I've ever seen that.
Renfro's caught 4 passes for 62 yards. First down, Cowboys at the Redskin 47. White deep for Barksdale and out of bounds. Darrell Green was the defender.
Again, the thing that impresses me is the job that this Cowboy offensive line is doing. You got 2 rookie tackles in there. 2 guys that, you know, you think are going to have a tough time. But I'll tell you, this Darrell Smith over here is doing a good job on Dexter Manley. Cogan's holding his own up there against Charles Mann. That I thought would be a big part of this game.
Second down at 10. Dallas at the Washington 47. White out of the shotgun. Kelvin Edwards makes the reception, and it's out of bounds. He caught it, but couldn't get the feet down.
Kelvin Edwards was one of those replacement players that once the strike was over, he just stayed there. Cowboys think he's going to be a real good one. He's just an inexperienced guy, but the ball was out of bounds there.
Edwards was drafted by New Orleans. The Saints chose not to keep him. Dallas picked him up, and as John Madden said, he played during the strike and played very well, and he's still there and starting. From the spread. White gets it up the middle. Pass is caught by Kelvin Martin, who's hit while he's still in the air by Todd Bowles.
And that completion will give the Cowboys a shot now at a field goal.
They take a timeout.
Hey, that was a big reception here, because from this point on third down, they wouldn't have been able to even try a field goal. But here you just see Kelvin Martin. He just works in there in the middle of a zone, goes up, and that was a big completion, big catch by Kelvin Martin.
Another of those Boston College players who've done so well.
Another of those little wide receivers. You know, those little guys, 5'8", 5'9", 160 pounds.
Roger Ruzick comes on to attempt the field goal. Dallas out of timeouts now. 10 seconds remaining. Washington leading 17-3. This will be a 42-yard effort. Steve Pallor is the holder. Ruzick's had a hot year. No good. Far enough, but wide left. 6 seconds remain, first half. Redskins had all of their timeouts remaining still.
I think that could have been a big shot for the Cowboys, because even though it just would have made it 17-6, at least it would have given them a lot better feeling going into halftime.
Would have given them a lift. You think Schrader will go to work again?
It looks like he's just going to take that kneel down play the way they're getting set up.
Yeah. Which is what he does. The Dallas can't stop it. The Redskins head for the locker room, leading 7-3. That's the end of the first half with the score: Washington 17, Dallas 3.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota, setting the standard for quality and value. STP, makers of STP oil treatment. We've got what it takes to perform. And by Citizen, no other watch expresses time more beautifully. Catch College Bowl excitement on CBS Sports. Christmas Day, the Big Eight's Offensive Player of the Year, Thurman Thomas, powers Oklahoma State against West Virginia. On December 31st, South Carolina battles LSU. And New Year's Day, this year's Heisman Trophy winner Tim Brown leads the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame against Southwest Conference champion Texas A&M. This holiday season, look for the bowl games on CBS Sports.
A pinched nerve sidelines Tommy Kramer and Wade Wilson now quarterbacking the Minnesota Vikings, although Kramer did warm up prior to the start of the second half. But it is Wilson who is directing the Vikings in a very important game against the Green Bay Packers, a wild card berth at stake. And right now in the third quarter, these two teams are tied at 7. We can check in on some of the highlights of that game, and we can see that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was there.
One way to stay warm in County Stadium. But when Kramer was in the lineup in the first quarter, he went early in the ball game to Anthony Carter and hit him on a 41-yard touchdown pass. But the Packers responded. They had a nice drive going and got inside the 1-yard line. As soon as you get their offense on the field, there you are. Paul Carruth going over from 1 yard out and tying it up 7-7. Tommy Kramer's out, but Wade Wilson's playing.
Yeah, you would expect the Vikings to win this game because it's very important. The Packers, on the other hand, they have lost steam throughout the season down the stretch. Now, New Orleans and Houston. Folks, this Saint team is pretty good. Good defense. Hebert, 3 touchdown passes. Martin on the day, and he's thrown for almost 200 yards in that game in the first half. Miami and Philadelphia, the storyline here is the Dolphins regained the lead. Dan Marino does have a touchdown pass in that game to Duper of 20 yards. Cunningham hit quick from 44 yards out. 14-10, Dolphins with the lead. Buffalo and Indianapolis, and Kelly doing a job inside in Indianapolis this afternoon. He's hit Harmon from 12 yards out for the Bills' touchdown and a pair of field goals. Jets in New England. Bad showing by the Jets. They've been miserable. And the Patriots, meanwhile, welcome back Steve Grogan. 4 touchdown passes, 2 to Jones now. Listen to these distances, 16, 26, 28, 27 yards on the day. Grogan is lighting up that Jet defense. Cincinnati and Cleveland. Kosar starting to light the Bengals up. This well could spell the end of Weich's coaching career down in Cincinnati. Kosar, 3 touchdown passes so far on the afternoon. Dallas and Washington, the game you are watching, and the Redskins dominating the lowly Cowboys. Irving?
Well, when things don't go well for a team, they really fall apart. Here's Herschel Walker fumbling the ball early in the first quarter. Redskins recover. George Rogers has had trouble all year long with injuries. Shoulder injury, toe injury. He's healthy today. He goes in from 1 yard out. Takes a 7-0 lead there in the halftime. Of course, leading 17-3.
All right, this is Jay Schrader pulling back out, and it's a beautiful pass to Clark.
Gary Clark destroyed Everson Walls. I don't know what Everson Walls is looking at. He's an experienced cornerback. He was looking in the backfield all the way. You never do that. You always look through the receiver to the quarterback on pass defense. I don't know what he was thinking.
The NFL Today continues on CBS after these messages from your local station. Hey, we've got a doubleheader game coming your way here on CBS. Now, many of you will see the Giants and the Cardinals. We thought this might be the last time the Cardinals played in St. Louis, but as we reported earlier, a snag, and maybe St. Louis will be back there playing in St. Louis again next year. We'll also have Atlanta and the Rams, and Detroit against Tampa Bay. Good crowd on hand in Tampa Bay. Vinny Testaverde quarterbacking that team. But one of the major disappointments of the decade, really, in the NFL has been the performance of the Lions. They were one of the league's oldest and most stable franchises, and they've been singing the Motown blues for so long now that fans have all but forgotten that their Lions used to be kings of the pro football jungle. The Lions are a franchise with a proud tradition. Back in the 50s, they won 3 NFL championships. And players and sports writers who remember those great teams can't help but notice the difference now.
At one time, we had a lot of tradition going here. I think with the way the records are going now, or the way the win and loss column is, they're losing a lot of it.
The Lions currently are just scoffing at tradition. It's a shame. I would call it, in the realm of sports, a sports tragedy.
The only notable success the Lions have enjoyed recently has been in avoiding problems off the field.
The traffic was terrible out there, and the Lions have finally figured out a way to conquer the traffic problem with a rotten football team.
Somewhere along the line, you know, pride's in there someplace. And I don't know why that didn't crop up more. For some reason, it doesn't seem to be there. Team pride.
Nowadays, the Lions play at home in a half-empty stadium, while the team that packs them into the Silverdome is the Pistons of the NBA, and the owner should be worried.
If I was Bill Ford, I certainly would take a look at my organization and I guess make a decision based on what has happened in the last years.
He wants to win. It's a question of knowing how to win, how to put together a winner, and I don't think he knows how.
The heat from local critics is also directed at General Manager Russ Thomas, who told us he won't discuss the team's problems until after the season.
I really think the entire problem has been in the area of procurement of players. And Thomas has been either in charge of that officially or in a quasi-official role ever since the early 60s.
It is Ford's opinion, expressed many times to me, that he considers Russ Thomas among the 2 or 3 best general managers in all of football. It's a hard thing to sell to the Detroit audience.
That audience has run out of patience, and many fans would like to sweep out the den from top to bottom.
Get rid of the coach and general manager.
Better players.
I think they see themselves as losers, and that's exactly what they're doing.
So until this season ends and what Ford does over the next 6 months, it's impossible to say where the Lions are headed. For the moment, they're headed to the pits, and we'll stay there.
Irv, would you change coaches?
I wouldn't change any coaches this year. There are too many problems away from the football field. I think all the coaches ought to stay pat, but I would make a change at the general manager's office. If you're going to reform, you have to start there.
All right, Irv, time for the second half down in Washington. I'll send you back now to Pat Summerall and John Madden. Pat?
John, you look at the Dallas Cowboys. The score is 17-3 Washington, but it doesn't appear that the Cowboys have done that poorly.
Well, they haven't. You know, they've gotten some things going. I know one thing they want to do is control the line of scrimmage, and I think they've done that pretty well. They're a team that really isn't a good team, and they're having a tough year. I think they've done as much in the first half as they could. I think when they missed that field goal, though, at the end of the half, I think that's something that could take a lot of air out of them.
What do they do now?
Well, I don't know. I think they just have to come back and fight them as much as they can. I think the Redskins have to feel good about themselves. I think at some point Joe Gibbs is going to have to admit that, hey, we aren't a running team anymore. We're a passing team now.
All right, John, thank you. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? Miller Lite, proud sponsor of NFL Lineman of the Year. There's only one light beer, Miller Lite. And by Radio Shack, the technology store.
Washington leading Dallas 17-3. Both teams back from the locker rooms and whatever went on at the half. A sellout crowd at RFK Stadium. Redskins have already clinched the NFC East. Dallas mathematically, a lot depending on what happens this afternoon, if they do stay alive, if they can stay alive with a playoff possibility, mathematically it could happen, but it's highly unlikely.
You know, one of the things that they do at halftime, and I think the Redskins do it better than anyone, is they go over what happened in the first half, they go over their statistics, they look at their Polaroids, and then they make adjustments. And I feel a couple things about the Redskins. One, I feel the quarterback, Jay Schrader, although he had his best half this season, his first half, I feel he's a much better quarterback in the second half. And I think that Joe Gibbs and his staff are one of the best in the NFL at making halftime adjustments.
You know, I think it was an interesting observation you made when we were talking before about they have to realize, they should be able to realize that they're not going to be able to run the ball like they used to, partly because of the offensive line and the problems they've had in that area, but also partly because of the change in defense in the NFL.
Right, and then partly because of their running back situation and the health of their backs and so on. And I know Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs loves to run the football, and he loves that control. He said, you know, you have more control of the game then. And he doesn't like that kind of being out of control, but I think at some point he has to say, hey, that's it.
This is our strength. Let's go with it. Ruzick kicks off to Clarence Verdon. Takes it at the 6. Hit by Todd Fowler after a return of 21.
You know, here's Jay Schrader's passing by distance, and you know, he spreads the ball out all over. If you look, he was 5 for 6 under 10 yards, 1 for 4 between 10 and 20. Then he'll throw the ball down the field. 1 for 2, 1 for 1, 31 to 40, and then 1 for 2 for 56 yards. So he not only spreads it across, but he spreads it up and down the field.
John, he's one of those guys who's never going to be a high percentage passer because he does throw it upfield.
And he's one of those guys who looks upfield first and then comes back short.
Here he goes again. Walls comes up with the interception. Everson Walls back there with him step for step that time.
Well, that was the same play that they got the touchdown at the end of the first half. Look at the difference between Walls this time than the touchdown, if you remember. On the touchdown, he was looking back at the quarterback all the way. On this one, coming off the line of scrimmage, he was looking at Gary Clark. That one, he got the interception on. Of course, the other one, he was beaten by a touchdown run. That is an interesting thing, because the first one, he's looking back in, touchdown. That one, he's looking at Gary Clark, interception.
Walker splits out wide to the right this time. Dorsett is in the backfield as the runner. And the handoff is to Dorsett, and there's no place to go. Gouveia made the stop. Dorsett got 1.
Let's look at that one again, Pat, just before halftime, the touchdown. Remember the one Gary Clark got? If we look here, now watch Walls here. Coming off the line of scrimmage, he's looking back into the backfield at Schrader, and he lets Clark get by him. The one we just saw, of course, he was looking at Clark coming off the line of scrimmage. That's a halftime adjustment by the Cowboys.
2nd and 9. Newsome and Walker behind Danny White. This is Herschel Walker. Hit by Manley right at the line of scrimmage. He might have gotten a yard, but not much more.
This is the thing, I think this is the place where the Cowboys had to make a play. They just come off an interception, and then if they could come up with a couple of offensive plays here and start changing the tone of this game. They just don't seem to have guys that can make big plays for them.
It'll bring up a 3rd and 8. Renfro split wide right this time, and Kelvin Edwards and Rod Barksdale to the left. That's Barksdale in motion. White out of the spread formation, going deep for Edwards. Incomplete. Barry Wilburn right with him. And the Redskin defense rises to the occasion after the interception by Everson Walls. Saxon comes on to punt.
There's Eric Yarber, all 155 pounds of him. He's getting ready for that doom that could be around the corner. He's checking out all his equipment. You know, everything's working.
Checking out everything. Here's Saxon. A high kick. Yarber signals fair catch just at the last second at the 25. And a flag goes down.
That's Victor Scott. He's saying whatever they called, he didn't do it.
Apparently the officials thought that he didn't give Yarber enough room.
And once he calls a fair catch, of course you can't hit him, but the other thing is you have to give him a chance and room to catch the ball.
Multiple fouls. Ineligible downfield, number 40 on the kicking team. That penalty will be declined. Interferes with the opportunity to catch the kick, number 22 of the kicking team. That penalty is accepted. 15-yard penalty and first down.
What he's calling is right here on Victor Scott. He's saying that he's interfering with his opportunity to make the fair catch. Although he did make the fair catch.
He did make the catch, and he did signal at the last second. 17-3, Washington leads.
This holiday season, look for the College Bowl games on CBS Sports.
I am master of ancient art of karate, kung fu, and the Chinese checker. But what about the socializing? I always reach for a cold Miller Lite. Light tastes great. Light less filling, too. Hey, anybody want the pepperoni?
Ancient proverb, only one light beer, Miller Lite.
The Cardinals, Atlanta against the Rams, and the Detroit Lions at Tampa Bay. Check your local listings for what game you'll be seeing. Clark split out wide to the right, looking at Wall. Schrader, the quarterback. Redskins first down at their own 40. 13-13 left to play in the third quarter. Hand off Rogers. Rogers chased by Jeffcoat, stopped by Downs, a gain of 2.
You know, one of the guys that the Redskins feel is their most consistent offensive lineman is Raleigh McKenzie, and now it's an interesting matchup down there. He's going against Danny Noonan. I'll tell you, that is 2 strong guys going head-to-head and hitting there in the pits.
And Young. Second down and 8. Schrader back to throw. Cowboys haven't gotten close to it. It's Clark for a first down. A gain of 9, stopped by Downs and Walls.
You know, that's what you try and do. You know, Gary Clark, of course, got the touchdown deep on Walls, and then he comes back later, and they have the interception. So now you got him thinking deep, so you want to come in and hit the short stuff in front of him. You see how he pushed Walls off like he was going deep, and then he came back in and caught that hook. Of course, here's the pass protection here. See Noonan running a stunt there with Jeffcoat, and the Redskins pick it up.
Jacoby was the final push on Danny Noonan. First, here comes the Cowboy blitz. Schrader just gets rid of it. Ricky Sanders out of bounds inside the 5. Schrader able to get it downfield again. Sanders out of bounds inside the 5 and a gain of 47.
A real advantage for the Redskins because Schrader was flushed out of the pocket and Ricky Sanders was going man-to-man again against Everson Walls, but he was coming across the same way that Schrader's flushed. See, Schrader is running to his right and Sanders is coming across. Again, Everson Walls has an interception, but he's been beaten by a couple of big ones today.
First and goal at the 2. Redskins have a lot of guys who can hurt you. Rogers, the deep back. Reggie Branch in front of him. Rogers. Not quite. Walls on the tackle with Jesse Penn.
Walls was looking up there at Reggie Branch saying, what is this? There's George Rogers. He's getting ready. Any time that you get ready for short yardage, you know that there's going to be a big collision coming up shortly. Watch him here. He's following Branch. He had to leave to cut back to the inside, and that's where he got in trouble.
Oh, it's second down at the 1. Looked into the end zone for Didier, and there was nothing there.
And Didier got knocked down. I don't know if that was while the ball was in the air or before or after, but it looked like Michael Downs just cut Clint Didier down. See it again, it was a play pass. They're going to fake the run, and Schrader's going to roll out to the right. Didier's right down here in the bottom of the thing. I guess he just got pushed down. He didn't even get hit by Downs there.
Ed Jones got the hand up to deflect it. 3rd and goal now from the 1. Rodgers again. Touchdown, Redskins. His 2nd of the day.
When the Redskins get down there in short yardage, if they're going to run, they're going to run to the side Don Warren is. They're blocking tight end.
Ali Haji Sheik for the extra point. It's 23-3, and the Sheik trying to make it 24. Make it 24. And done. 10:45 left to play in the 3rd quarter, and the Redskins in control of the Cowboys, 24-3.
Last week, the Giants erupted with 9 sacks. Now they're out to disrupt one of the league's hottest QBs. Neil Lomax on CBS Sports next.
The Redskins took 6 plays to go 60 yards. George Rogers scored his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon, the first time this year that he scored 2 touchdowns. Both of flat all the way into Redskin territory. Darrell Green and the kicker Ali Haji Sheik brought him down. But a 47-yard kickoff return by Clack.
Watch the wedge. Those 4 guys up in front. See, they swing to the right. Now Clack is trying to get up into the wedge. He gets some good blocks there. That gives him a hole. He sees the kicker. He's going to run over the kicker. But Darrell Green catches him from behind. I don't know that Sheik would have made that tackle without Green. What do you think?
Darrell Green is going to catch a lot of people from behind. First down, Cowboys at the Redskin 44.
Would the Sheik have made the tackle?
No. I'm reasonably sure. Cosby to the Redskins 34. Gain of 8. Washington leading Dallas 24-3. Ed Jones over on the sideline. Renfro goes wide right, 2nd and 1. Elvin Edwards to the left, and Tony Dorsett is the running back. Walker in the slot. Walker in motion. Hand off to Dorsett, who started to head for the outside and got the first down.
You know, we looked at Jay Schrader's passing by distance, and we'll see Danny White. You know, look, 4 for 9, under 10. 5 for 7 between 10 to 20 yards. 21 to 30 is 2 for 5. And then you look over 30 yards, he's 0 for 4. So I think in that, under 20 yards, he has pretty good control and pretty good success.
First down, Dallas. They're at the Redskin 30 now. Washington leading 24-3 with 9:25 left. Here's Mel Kaufman coming out. He might have gotten a finger stuck in his eye. Monty Coleman has taken his place. Walker and Newsom are the 2 runners behind White. Fake to Walker. Redskins on a blitz. White going deep. He's got a man. Barksdale incomplete. It was Newsom, I beg your pardon, not Barksdale. He had him. He had 2 or 3 steps on Olkowitz. They got the combination they wanted. He just couldn't hang on.
That's the thing that has to upset a coach. Here you're trying to get your running back on their middle linebacker. You get Newsom wide open in the middle field. against their linebacker, Okowicz, you know that you have a touchdown there, and then you don't get the completion. You know, you probably set that play up and you wait, and you're trying to get on that. You get that situation, and you have to get the touchdown.
That's the kind of year it's been. 2nd and 10 at the 30. Up the middle to Walker. Stays on his feet. Still on his feet. Got a first down. He held on. Mel Kaufman finally brought him down after a gain of 13 yards.
You know, Herschel Walker, when he sees a guy, when he gets the ball, instead of seeing all of them, he said he just zeroes in on one guy. That time it was Rich Malott. Number 57 was there. Herschel Walker caught the pass and went boom right at Malott. Bounced off him and started going again.
First down, Dallas at the Redskin 18. 8:22 left, third quarter. White outside quickly to Walker again. And Herschel drags Todd Bowles down to about the 10.
You know, Herschel Walker's so big and so strong, but the other thing that makes him tough to tackle are those pads. If you look at the shoulder pads, his pads look in the back how far they go down. They go down all the way beyond his number. So wherever you hit Herschel Walker, he's going to give you pad. And he's strong enough and powerful enough that when he gives you the pad, boom, you bounce off it.
2nd and 4. White to Dorsett. Dorsett stopped short of a first down by about a yard. Darrell Green and Todd Bowles made the hit. He picked up 3. Got it down to the 8-yard line. It's about a yard shy of the first down. Thornton Chandler checks in. And they'll go double tight ends, and Dorsett goes out.
Now the Redskins counter with 4 players. 4 guys come in, 4 guys go out. One of the guys going out is Dexter Manley. They don't use him in short yardage now. This is their short yardage or goal line offense.
Newsome and Walker. That's Walker. And he's hit right at the line of scrimmage. Alvin Walton and Neil Okowicz both up to make the hit. He might have even lost yardage.
Hey, where he is strong and he is powerful, he met a couple of more strong and powerful guys. Watch it here. They're going to pull. Walker gets out there. There's 52 Okowicz. There's Walton at his ankles, and that's the place where a guy loses all his power. Then Darrell Grant just knocks him over the top. 4th down.
And the Cowboys are going to go for it. No field goal attempt here. 4th, and they need 2. Edwards, the man in motion. White gets it out to him, and he's knocked backwards. I don't think he got the first down. Darrell Green was right there. A gain of a yard, maybe, but not enough.
As you said, that just typifies the Cowboys' year. They have Timmy Newsome wide open. He drops the ball. 4th down, play pass. They go for it. They get the completion, but they come up short. That's an interesting mark, though. They're still checking that.
They are still looking. He was knocked backwards.
That's that right foot, left foot deal there. Which foot is he going to mark it with? And you can see the tackle is right in front of the marker.
Forward progress was achieved to this point, which will make it a Dallas first down.
Ooh, I still want to see where that guy marked. They're still talking over that one down there. Watch it again here. We can see the catch here. He's saying the forward motion was in front. Let's see if we can watch the official come in and mark it. I guess we stopped before that.
They call it a Dallas first down, and it's 1st and goal then from the 7. Renfro wide right. Edwards to the left. Andy White The last minute by Olkowitz. Intended for Herschel Walker. White was under pressure.
You can feel the intensity of this Redskin defense getting ready for playoffs. You know, they know that they got this. It is a rivalry. They're ahead 24-3. You just have a feeling that defense doesn't want this Cowboy team to score.
Number 66 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Holding called against Gogan. Olkowitz knocked it away. Manley was shaken up on the play, but he stayed in the game. First and goal from the 16 now. White gets the screen pass to Walker. And Herschel gets away from one tackler and gets down inside the 10. Todd Bowles finally brought him down. First man to hit him was Rich Millot.
You get the feeling that the Cowboys are just pulling out anything, you know, just anything that they can get going here. And they go back to that thing that they've done the best forever, and that's throw a screen pass.
Brings up second and goal from the 9. Washington leads it 24-3 with 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. Danny White. Back to throw. Mann comes in with a sack. His second of the day.
Well, you're going to see Mann. He's going to come from right here, and you're going to just watch his rush on Gogan. He just starts up to the outside, pushes him, then goes on inside. I'll tell you, Mann has not only gotten quicker, but he's stronger. Did you see that? He hit him with that right hand and just knocked Gogan right outside. He came in.
When we first saw him, he only weighed about 235. Now he's up to 270. Third down. Incomplete for Renfro.
I think at this point the Cowboys will just go for it again on fourth down, but no, they're not. I see the kicker coming in.
Ruzick comes on.
Tom Landry probably figures we had enough shots at that thing, and if we can't get it over, then we'll just try and kick it.
Pallure is the holder. Landry is not one of those who might be inclined to try a fake field goal, especially but it being 4th and 19 and 4th and goal. From the 19. 36-yard field goal. Ruzick is 1 out of 2 on the day. It's 24-6 now with 4:47 left in the third quarter. Washington still in control of the situation. 4:47 left, third quarter. Redskins over the Cowboys 24-6. Roger Ruzick just hit his second field goal. Cowboys had 12 plays, kept the ball 5 minutes and 58 seconds. Still only got a field goal.
I think that has to be the frustrating thing for the Cowboys offense, because 8 of those plays they were inside the 20-yard line. They had opportunities and they just couldn't break that goal line plane. The Redskins.
She had that big holding penalty that set him back. And all he got was 3. Ruzick set to kick it off to Clarence Verdun. Good kick, chases him back. Right to the goal line. Cut down at the 23 by Jesse Penn. No penalty. Somewhat of a shock. Redskins take over at their own 24-yard line. Jay Schrader remains the quarterback. George Rogers remains the running back. The single back. Sanders and Clark, the wide receivers. Didier and Warren both move, and now they move again. Sanders in motion. Schrader gives to Rogers. Hit behind the line of scrimmage by Burton first, and then from behind by Penn. That'll get your attention. The AFC East. Who wants to win that? Indianapolis with a record of 7-5 leading, but losing today to Buffalo. Miami 6-6, and they're winning. The Jets 6-6, and they're losing to New England. So the whole picture of that one has changed drastically today. It'll be one of those everybody tied for first again. Second down and 13. Schrader gets it outside. Fumble. And the Cowboys' Jeffcoat picks it up. It is a fumble. Ron Francis made the hit.
That was an alert play by Francis because they started out and the Redskins started going deep, and then they're coming back and throwing those hooks in front of you. Now, when those short things happen, the thing you have to do is get up there and make the tackle.
The play stands as ruled. Completed pass, fumble, recovered by Dallas.
They already had an instant replay on that one before we even showed the replay.
We didn't even have a replay.
No, how'd they do that? How'd the guy talk about it before they even showed it? But anyway, Francis gets up there, and he's kind of spinning Clark around, and as he's spinning him around, the ball comes out.
First down, Dallas. They have the ball at the Redskin 29-yard line. Newsom was the man in motion. White comes back to throw. Gets it outside to Newsom to the 25. Gain of only 3. Alvin Walton again on the stop with Gobea.
That's a real good use of instant replay when they can have a decision before they get to replay. That's really something.
Kallur signaling the play in to Danny White. 3:21 left to play in the third quarter. Cowboys have a chance to pull things closer. Second down and 7. The Redskin 25. And White gets it to Renfro. Touchdown. Between Green and Walton.
I'll tell you, Danny White has that bad wrist, but he sure zipped that post in there. Watch him. Renfro's up on top of the screen. He's going to come up. Darrell Green is covering from the outside, and he has to throw that ball between Darrell Green and Todd Bowles, a free safety. And he really zipped that thing in there.
Ruzick for the extra point now. Mike Renfro again has had a spectacular second half of the year. Kallur holding. Ruzick for the extra point. That makes it the Redskins 24, now Dallas 13 with 3:06 left to play in the third quarter. (24-13), 3:06 left to play third quarter. Dallas scoring drive, 2 plays it took them, 28 yards. Danny White hit Renfro for the touchdown, and it's 24-13. Ruzick set to kick it off. Clarence Verdin back deep for the Redskins. Another good kick. Chases Verdin, and then it goes out of bounds.
Kickoff out of bounds. A new 1987 rule gives the football to the receiving team on their own 35-yard line, 1st and 10.
The 87 variety. Let's watch that play. You see, when you get both backs going this way, That gets a strong safety out, and it gives them the hole right here. Renfro is going to run up into that hole, and White hits him before he can get over, and he can close it. Watch the play pass. See, when both backs start this way, watch the strong safety come up. Now see the hole in there? Now Renfro runs into the hole. Now you say, why wasn't he down? Because he was on Green before he was down.
He landed on top of Darrell Green and then fell into the end zone. So it's touchdown for Renfro and Dallas. Sanders is on the move, and Schrader comes out of the pocket with a lot of time to go to work. Scott Sanders, and Everson Walls got a hand on it at the last second. Sanders broke open.
Let's watch the pass protection here. There's Danny Noonan. He has the same type of stance as Randy White did. Watch him against McKenzie. Strong guys. He's pushing McKenzie back. Bostic helps. Then McKenzie ends up winning the war. And old Jeff Goat is coming in there swinging at guys. They're shooting some bullets down there.
Schrader had a lot of time. He had a man open, and Walls made the recovery. Bates comes out with Didier. Walls comes with Sanders. Back to throw again. Up and over the middle is Schrader, intended for Kelvin Bryant. And over his head.
Jay Schrader is upset. The fans are booing. How quickly they forget. This is a backwards game for Schrader, though. Usually, he's a little colder in the first half and comes back hot in the second half. He had his best first half, and then he's come here, and he's a little cold right now.
Dallas comes now with the 4-0 defense. The 4 down linemen and the 7 defensive backs. Randy White's playing right defensive end this time. Schrader back to throw. Ed Jones in his face. Schrader gets rid of it. Almost picked off by Victor Scott. And if he had it, they would have moved a little bit closer.
See, one thing I always talk about Tom Landry as being an unemotional guy. I'll tell you, there's as big a competitor as there is, there's no one bigger than Tom Landry. I mean, you see him, you watch that play, he almost had it. He could see if Victor Scott catches that ball, there's nothing between except grass and those lines between him and the goal line.
And this game is back being a game again if he catches that. Kelvin Martin back deep. Steve Cox gets off a rocket. Brian Davis had him in his sights for 20 yards away. 48-yard punt by Cox.
Davis is coming down here. Watch him. He thinks that he's going to fair catch. He comes under control, waits, sees there's no fair catch, and then makes the tackle.
So Dallas takes over at their own 19. Victor Scott almost changed the whole complexion of this game. This crowd coming to life after being stunned a little bit by the way the Cowboys have been able to turn it around in the third quarter. Here's White. Pass caught by Parksdale. 15-yard gain. Green on the stop.
I think the Cowboys feel they have something going because that was the same type of thing, the same pattern. Watch Barksdale up here coming down, and right in here, the same type of pattern that they hit Renfro on. Watch, he goes 1, 2, 3, Danny White, 1, 2, 3, whap, right in that hole of the zone.
Dorsett is a deep back, and Walker's in front of him. Now, they have a little conversation. Tony moves behind. Hand off Dorsett, who almost broke it. Gain of 3. Darrell Grant just did trip him up.
Looked like Dorsett had that hole there, as you said, because they were moving butts out one way, and then as Dorsett came, Grant just reached out and tripped him.
Dexter Manley got up, got back into the huddle rather slowly after that last play.
You'll see what happens to him here. He's just getting blocked, turned around, knocked down, done everything by Nate Newton, weighing about 315 pounds.
White gives on a draw play to Dorsett, who comes out again to the 40. Gobert makes a stop, a gain of 2.
Remember Nate Newton, number 61 there, they called him the kitchen last year. And then the Cowboys got a new offensive line coach, Jim Erkenbach. And he said, you don't want to be a joke, you want to be a football player. You don't want to be known as the kitchen. And he had a great start. Then he injured his knee in the early season, had it operated on during the strike. And he's not back 100%. Not back 100% yet.
3rd down and 5 at the 40. White back to throw. Pressure on him, but he gets it to Cosby, and Cosby gets a first down and more. Darrell Green took the ride from Cosby. Right now for an NFL update. Let's send you again to Brent Musburger, New York.
We've had quite a blow now to the Vikings' playoff hope. With 1 minute and 6 seconds to go, the Packers score. The little inside handoff to Ken Davis, and he scoots in from 7 yards out, but they blow the extra point. If the Vikes can score and add the extra point, they'd win it. Let's go back to Pat and John.
24-13 the score here at RFK Stadium, and that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. Washington 24, Dallas 13, and we now pause for a word from your local station.
This is CBS.
I'm Tom Landry. Throughout my football career, I've seen a lot of changes, and ultimately, they made the game more challenging, safer, and more exciting to watch. Here in Nashville, Baptist has always been changing, updating, and expanding to bring you what is today the largest, most modern health facility in Middle Tennessee. State-of-the-art technology, outstanding physicians, and new programs are continually added to help keep you well and in the game. But one thing that hasn't changed at Baptist Hospital, the special care they've been giving their patients for so many years.
A look at Nashville's entertainment industry Monday.
Magnavox Smartbox. Smart products for smart people. Magnavox Smart. Very smart. And by Prudential Bait Securities. Rock solid, market wise.
Ready to start the 4th quarter at RFK Stadium. The Dallas Cowboys against the Washington Redskins. 24-13, Washington leading. Dallas has a first down at the Redskin 46. Walker comes out of the backfield, so there's no one left back there. Redskins jump. It's about the 4th encroach.
I think that's the other side, though. The early ones were on man's side. That looked like was up there on Manley's side. You said the Cowboys only had one guy in the backfield, Herschel Walker, then he left, and they had none.
Encroachment, 72 defense.
Was Dexter Manley. That'll make it 1st and 5, sorry.
And the things that have really gotten the encroachments have been the motion. You know, as a guy goes in motion, because they're down there, they're in that stance, they're all cocked, all ready to go, then they see something move. What? There goes something, so boom, there they go.
That moves the ball down to the Redskin 41. Danny White looking over the defense. And fires quickly to Kelvin Edwards. And Edwards gets down to the Redskin 25. Olkowitz stopped him, but a gain of 15.
Hey, Danny White has that thing going on these slants. He threw a touchdown pass. He threw another one to Barksdale. Now he throws the other one. He had a double slant. 2 guys going in. He took the inside guy, Kelvin Edwards, that time. I mean, that has been a big pass for him here in this 2nd half. That quick slant.
1st and 10 at the Redskin 26. Walker is the lone setback this time, and he gets the carry. And he's hit behind the line of scrimmage by Charles Mann and Darrell Grant. Loss of 1. He had no chance.
That's the toughest place to run, is inside against these guys. With Darrell Grant and Dave Butts in there, that is tough.
They've had almost no success in whatever attempts they've made in the middle of the Redskin defense.
You know, Butts is one of those guys that was big before big was popular. I mean, he's like 6'7", 300 pounds, big, strong guy, and you're not going to take him where you want to. Maybe you can get him where he wants to go, but you can't go where you want to.
You'll get a stalemate if you're lucky. Outside to Thornton Chandler. Alvin Walton knocked him out of bounds. The Saints winning again. Bring up a third down situation, about 4 at the Redskin 20. Wholesale substitutions for Washington.
Well, they got 5 guys going in this time.
Passing down.
They had 5 going in, 4 coming out. Now Vernon Dean comes off.
Danny White back in the shotgun formation now. Has some time. Send it deep for Walker. He just threw it for air as he was under pressure. Settle for a field goal here, or did he go for it? You got to go, don't you?
I would think so. You know, the time is getting to be a play now, and I know that the Cowboys have to think that, and now is a better chance because they only need 4 yards here, so they don't have to take this ball and complete it or get it in the end zone. They only have to pick up a first down, and then they can go for it.
Cosby checked in at the last second, and he and White had a little conversation. Pass is picked off by Alvin Walton, and now it was knocked to the ground, incomplete, but it doesn't matter.
I think that was the thing you said. You saw Cosby come in. You saw him talk to Danny White. Then Danny White watches Cosby all the way, and he really forces it there. Alvin Wyatt saw it, and he was right there.
So the Redskins take over with 13:09 remaining. Just to summarize, Clark has had a great day. 8 receptions for 183 yards and the 1 touchdown. George Rogers has scored twice for the Redskins, 1-yard runs in both occasions. And Herschel Walker's been held pretty much in check. He's just picked up 61 yards. 24-13 the score. If we have that much time, 13:09 left in the contest. And John, if you're the Redskins and you haven't been able to run, this is certainly the time that you'd like to be able to establish something like that.
Well, I don't know that it means anything because they did that last week against the Cardinals. You know, they came back after they won the game, then they established some running. And really coming into this game, they didn't feel that they had established it last week. And I don't think, no matter what happens from now until the end of the game, I don't think it's established.
Well, they try one time anyway. George Rogers over the right side, stopped by Danny Noonan. That's a final score, by the way. The Packers have beaten Minnesota. Rogers got 4 yards, and that really clouds the playoff picture. It keeps a lot of people alive, and New Orleans looks like that they will be the host team in the wild card game. New Orleans clinched the home field in the wild card game if they are the wild card team. And it looks like they will be.
Well, of course, they still have a shot. The Saints still have a shot at winning that division, too, because the 49ers have a little tough road. You know, they have to play the Bears tomorrow night, so that thing isn't settled there. And New Orleans is one of the exciting things, I think, that has happened or maybe has come out of this season.
Well, the enthusiasm down there is really something to behold. That's Mark May, who's limping off. Rick Kerr has taken his place. 2nd down and 6.
Yeah, that was one of the things that the Redskins wanted, is they've had guys coming in and out of the offensive line all year, and in the last few games they've had the same guys, and that was an area of settlement. And now when Mark May goes out, then they go back to where their problem area has been, just not being able to get 5 guys to play every week.
Clark comes out wide to the left. Here's Rogers. Rogers by Downs. Gain of 3. Bates also with an assist. That'll bring up a 3rd down. In the race for the home field advantage, the Bear record is 10-2. The 49ers 10-2 against the conference. They're both very effective. They play on Monday night, of course. Washington 9-3 and New Orleans 9-3.
See, and the Redskins, what they need is they have to win their games, and they need the Bears or the 49ers to lose 2 for them to get the home field in the first game.
3rd and 3. Sanders in motion. Schrader back to throw. Has time and gets the pass complete, and that'll be enough for a first down outside the 30. That was Gary Clark who made the reception, his 9th of the day. A gain of 4, but enough, more importantly, for a first down.
You know, you have to like Gary Clark. I mean, he looks like an offensive lineman in a wide receiver's body. Yeah, I mean, look at that. He got mud, he got dirt, he got stuff hanging off. His jersey's ripped, parts hanging out. Fiery, tough, stubborn. Shirt tail's not really neatly tucked in. Looks like a guard out there.
Wearing a raincoat underneath his jersey.
Stuff hanging out.
Schrader. Rogers again, and he is hit behind the line by Francis and down. Loses 2.
He looked like he got more than tackled on that play. I mean, they come out there and they get him, and they're going to start taking his clothes off. Watch this. Whap, whap, whap. Pull, push, doink. I mean, he got his pads are pulling out.
They're serious about this. 2nd and 12 for the Redskins. Just over 10 minutes left to play. Schrader again gives to Rogers. And Rogers is tripped up by Danny Noonan. He got 3 back.
You know, it's funny, you hear the cadence on the Redskins, and yellow has always been their dummy call. And Joe Theismann did that. He wanted a call that was easy to say, and it doesn't mean anything. They have a live color. If it's a color other than yellow, then they can go to an audible. If it's yellow, it means nothing, nada.
3rd and 9. The Redskins operating from their own 33. Schrader, 13 out of 24 on the day. Didier splits out wide to the left. Schrader back to throw. A lot of time. All kinds of time. And finally just trots out of bounds. Chased by Kevin Brooks. Kelvin Bryant was standing 30 yards from anybody. Schrader couldn't get the ball back to him.
They didn't see him. They were over in the sideline. They were all yelling about it. But what happened is Schrader got pushed out, and he was over in the other side of the field.
Kelvin Martin back deep for Dallas, and Steve Cox to punt for the Redskins. Away from one man. Whoop. And Martin is cut down by Raven Caldwell. An outstanding open field tackle. 46-yard kick by Cox. A return of 11, so they net 35, and the Cowboys take over with 9:15 remaining. With 9:15 left to play. That's Randy White being attended to over on the Dallas sideline. Some problem with his right ankle.
It looks like they're just loosening up the tape job. He had a lot of stuff in there in that tape job.
First down, Cowboys at their own 33. Handoff is to Walker, and Walker around the corner. First down, Dallas. Olkowitz finally stopped him after a gain of 16.
You know, one thing on that 3rd down play for the Redskins, Mark May did come back in. That was good news for the Redskins, because the thing, you know, the thing they don't want to do is to start breaking up that offensive line.
There's Mark May with the ice pack on the back of his neck. down, Cowboys at their own 48. Again, it's Walker. Walker to the midfield. Dave Butts and Alvin Walton.
Hey, Alvin Walton has had a big game today because you know coming into the game he's going to make most of the tackles against the run or be in on him, but he's also made some big pass defensive plays. Of course, that 4th down one that he intercepted when the Cowboys were trying to go to Doug Cosby. This guy's been all over the field, run and pass.
He has been the last 2 times we've seen him.
You know what I like about himself? When he tackles, he just launches himself into guys.
2nd and 8. Walker leaves behind White. Here comes the Redskin blitz. Pass is intercepted. Barry Wilburn. Now it's incomplete. Intended for Edwards. And the officials say he didn't have it.
Wilburn is trying to say that he had control of it and that the ground can't cause a fumble. But they have the same thing. If they go up in the air, they have to come down with both feet and control of the ball. You see, he comes down. I don't know. I don't know about that. Because you can't see it from there where the ball is.
Where is the ball? There it is.
I don't know. It looked like he did come down with the ball, though.
I think they're reviewing it.
Okay, now he has the ball. Now he has to come down with control. Now he's down. I think he had control of it.
Well, you can't see it.
The ball
there it is.
lost.
There it is behind him. Still reviewing.
Because again, you have a couple things in there. Is one, the ground can't cause the fumble, and 2, you have the thing that it's not control until you come down with it. So you see him up with it, then you see him down, and it looks like he has it, and you don't know when it comes out. There it is.
There it is.
It's out behind him, but you don't know when it went there. The first official said no good was the one that was behind him.
Wilburn is still saying, hey, I had it.
Well, you know, Wilburn is tied for the lead in the league in interceptions. So we got a stat we're talking about here, too.
Gordon McCarter is the referee, and he's coming over to again confer. They keep looking at us.
Well, they're going down. I guess their equipment doesn't work because that position is down on the Redskin bench. They're down on the end of the Redskin bench now talking on the telephone, so their communication equipment must be out.
The crowd starting to chant now Washington's ball. Washington's ball.
They have no communication system. That one popped everything out.
We might be here a while.
Wilburn's going over talking to the Cowboys about it. I would think, and I'm not saying it because of this play here, and I've always kind of been for instant replay, but I would bet that this is the last year of instant replay. I don't think they're going to get their vote next year.
Look at how long the game has been delayed already, and they still haven't made a decision. Over 3 minutes. Still talking on the telephone and trying to come up with a decision.
Well, they got it now because they hung up the phone. Probably inconclusive evidence is a good one.
Maybe they were just disgusted.
I think they're going to give it to him. I think they're going to give him an interception.
After review by instant replay has been reversed. It is an interception at the 17-yard line, first down.
They'll take it back to the 17-yard line.
There's Tom Landry when he heard it.
a problem, is what Coach Landry was saying. Barry Wilburn gets credit for the interception. And the Redskins take over at their own 17-yard line.
And Barry Wilburn is the leader in interceptions in the league now.
That decision brought this place to life again. To Rogers and goes for the bundle. Clark is way out there. Almost. Francis and Bates back with him. Schrader threw that ball 70 yards in the air.
I was going to say, did you see how easily he did it? I mean, he just went by there and he threw that ball 70 yards. Gary Clark is behind Francis there, has him beat, and it just went off his fingertips. But Jay Schrader just went boom and threw that ball. They left the ball out there. Now someone's going to get it on the 5-yard line.
Threw it so far they couldn't find it. Second and 10. Look at the offensive breakdown for the Redskins.
It's about half and half, but they're a lot more productive the other way.
Kelvin Bryant has replaced Rogers in the backfield. Schrader back to throw. Hit just as he let it go by Jeffcoat. And a flag on the play.
This is the thing here that the quarterback has to be able to step up. You see what happens? He's looking. Just as he goes to step up, he gets hit from behind.
5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Schrader got up very slowly after that hit by Jeffcoat.
I'll tell you, that'll knock the air out of you, among other things.
Automatic.
It was on Bill Bates.
Automatic first down. 7.5 minutes left to play. Washington up 24-13. Rogers back in the game now, replacing Bryant. Down he'll throw this one. Rogers, after a couple, stopped by Bates, picked up 4. And Ron Burton. It seemed to me that the new middle linebacker, John, for the Cowboys has done a pretty good job. Burton.
Well, he has, but the Redskins really haven't tested him much with that run. I mean, the Redskin team, I think, now is a passing team, and their success has been passing. And, of course, Burton is primarily concerned with the run. And, as you say, the Redskins haven't been a factor running the ball.
2nd and 6. Schrader again to Rogers. And Rogers picked up 3 over the left side, stopped by Danny Noonan again.
There's Kogan over there. They're working on the back of his calf there, probably putting some of that hot stuff there. Trying to rub it out, probably a cramp or something.
3rd down and 3. Redskins at their own 29-yard line. Schrader puts Sanders in motion. He goes back to throw. Incomplete, intended for Sanders. The Redskins will have to punt. Downs the defender. Here comes Steve Cox into punt. Kelvin Martin goes back deep for the Cowboys.
You know, Steve Cox was saying an interesting thing. He said, as a punter, you never see a punt block. You've never seen one, but he said you hear that second thump. So all you do is when you kick it, you hear one thump. When you hear thump, thump, you know it's a bad one.
See if they come after it. Nope, they're going to set up a return or try to. Cox has it go off the side of his foot. And it takes a Redskin bounce. Redskin bounce. One of the Redskins touched it, I believe. No, maybe not. And it rolls dead. Now they're going to bring it back. Somebody did touch it at the 24-yard line. A 47-yard punt it turns out to be for Steve Cox.
Offense is a useful instrument in the Redskin attack, but it takes both George Rogers and the versatile Kelvin Bryant to make it home. The ground game, where he uses his power to be a TD machine, is Rogers' domain. Bryant, on the other hand, can come out of the backfield with the instincts of a wide receiver or skitter on a sweep. Rogers and Bryant combine to make each other the best they can be.
4:13 with that much time left in the fourth quarter, and both teams with all of their timeouts remaining. With Minnesota losing to Green Bay, a lot of teams still have a mathematical chance to make it to the playoffs, including the Dallas Cowboys.
I think all the teams in the NFC were rooting for Green Bay today.
You know. Danny White back to throw. Caught by Renfro, who laterals to Cosby. And Cosby out of bounds by Monty Coleman. Pickup of 24.
Renfro is a heady guy. He knows when you're in this position with this score and this type of year, do anything you can to make a big play. He catches a hook. He's going down. He gets down almost. He's down on one knee. In fact, I think he should have been down. I think he was down on two knees.
Danny White got him out of the huddle in a hurry before there was any chance to review, and now they're going to look at it again.
Yeah, you would have liked to have seen him gotten away with that one. But I don't think they're going to. But the big thing here is not really, you see, he has a knee down. In fact, he has two knees down before he laterals it. But when did the whistle blow? I don't know if that official blew the whistle or not.
They're going to have another look. Danny White got him out as good. Got him out as fast as he could, hoping they wouldn't have a chance to review it. Remember that happened in a game in Denver a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he's down.
Review. The ball is dead on the 44-yard line. He was down, knee down, contact by the opponent at that point. First down.
Still first down, but they take a few yards away.
Well, they took everything away that Cosby gained. And when he went down on one knee and he was contacted, when he had contact, then the play was dead right there.
It's still a Dallas first down with 5.5 minutes left to play. And the Redskins leading 24-13. Herschel Walker moves left in motion, and White goes back to throw. Look out. He just barely got rid of it. Oof. And Cosby is hammered by Todd Bowles. For an NFL update again, let's go back to New York and Brent Musburger.
All right, Pat. Now with the Vikings being upset, the St. Louis Cardinals attempting to hang in there, Sikahema on the Giants' first possession takes the punt and dashes back for a touchdown. Now remember, he made the Pro Bowl team a year ago. He's a great return man, 76 yards, 7-0 cards. Let's go back to Pat and John.
5:21 left here at RFK Stadium. Cowboys 2nd and 10 at their own 34. White flushed out of the pocket by Charles Mann, and that's his 3rd sack of the day.
Hey, we were talking about Charles Mann, and we can see now how much stronger he's gotten. Watch him, how much stronger he's gotten. Watch him just drive in, drive through, drive, and make the sack back here on Danny White. But it just seems that, you know, he has the quickness, he has the moves, but watch him on Gogan here. He just takes him, then he just gets right by him, and then drives, and then he has Danny White from behind. Watch him here. You see, he starts a move, now he's getting by, and just keeps on going, comes up with a quarterback. Somewhere Gogan has to punch and stop him.
He got under his shoulders and just moved around. Here comes the Redskin blitz again. White gets it upfield. Kelvin Martin is his target. He gets a Cowboy first down. Good effort by Danny White.
And Dennis Woodbury was right there on the coverage. Watch it. You'll see 46. Watch him come in just as he was going down. It looked like he tripped. Didn't get out there.
32-yard pickup. He didn't get out of bounds, so the clock's still running with 4:14 left to play.
I'll tell you, Danny White's going to have a pretty big day today. He's going to have over 300 yards passing against this Redskin defense.
He already had. 4 minutes exactly now. Newsom turns to talk to Walker, and they move. White. Kelvin Edwards. And that's intercepted by Barry Wilburn. And now it's on the ground. It's not intercepted.
Can't give Wilburn that one. He already got one to lead the league, and he's in position now. He has great position. Watch him. He's just running stride for stride, looking at the ball, playing the ball. Goes up, catches the ball at the highest point, then it just rolls right down and out. See, and that one came out before he hit the ground. He's looking at those gloves. Those
didn't quite hang on.
Those scuba gloves, aren't they?
Yeah. White, 24 out of 45 for 319 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Tony Dorsett is the beat back. 2nd and 10, Dallas. Walker makes the catch and gets out of bounds and stops the clock. Gain of 20. And another Cowboy first down. Barry Wilburn knocked him out of bounds.
I tell you, this Charles Mann is doing something now. Watch him. He's going to be right here. Comes here, goes up, goes inside, beats the tackle here and the guard here, and hits Danny White just as he throws the ball. Watch him from the outside. He goes up. Now he's going to go inside. Now he goes over curve right through him to Danny White. Whap. Ooh. He's coming to be some player.
Really?
He may make all Madden if he doesn't watch out. I don't know if guys want to be on it or not.
I do.
He better watch out. Better not punt.
First down 10. White back to throw. Up the middle to Cosby. And Cosby to the Redskin 5. First and goal from there. He's stopped by Bowles, but a gain of 15.
Doug Cosby's always been one of the class guys in this league.
Right.
I think that when you talk about players and role models and what type of people players are, I think Doug Cosby is always at the top of that list.
Cowboys take a long time in the huddle, and time is precious to them right now. Clock running. Just 5 seconds left on the 30-second clock. They got to hurry. 1 second. They just got rid of it. Incomplete, intended for Thornton Chandler, and that stops the clock with 2:53 left. They got that ball snapped with no time left on the 30-second clock.
Well, you know, the Cowboys, Paul Hackett is up above, and he talks to Tom Landry, and Tom Landry calls the plays. Then he gives it to Steve Pallor, who has to signal it into Danny White, and that just sometimes takes a little too much time for him.
2:53 left to play. Second and goal from the 5. Newsom is the lone setback behind White this time. Straight back. Touchdown to Barksdale. And a fracas breaks out. Flags come flying. Danny White is in the middle of the pile, in the bottom of that one. Can't get them separated. Danny White levels somebody.
This is a bench emptying brawl.
See the quarterback make a charge at somebody like that. Watch number 11.
He's going after Olkowicz. You never see a quarterback take on a middle linebacker and then end up with the middle linebacker
touchdown is to Barksdale.
Well, it's that same pattern that they got a touchdown to Renfro, and it's on Darrell Green. It's that quick slant again to the inside, and they're probably the way Danny White is throwing that pass today. He has that one down perfectly. But I don't know that I've ever seen a quarterback get back, throw a touchdown pass, and get in a fight with a middle linebacker.
I don't think I have ever seen that, John.
That ought to make something. I think this is where it started right there. You see, Newton was standing above Manley.
A number of players from both teams were involved in the fracas which occurred after the play. The penalties, in effect, offset at the succeeding spot. Personal fouls both ways.
Yeah, Danny White not only went after him, but he went after him with a forearm. Good news is he hit him with his left forearm, not the one in his bad arm. Now he's telling Cosby. He said, hey, Okowitz was grabbing Newton. I was just protecting my guard. He's still upset.
Did a pretty good job of it.
Well, these guys don't look like they need much protection. I mean, a guy like Nate Newton being protected by a quarterback.
Right.
That's another thing you don't see. And a quarterback throwing a forearm at a middle linebacker you won't see.
The lure for the will hold for the extra point by Ruzick. It's 24-19, trying to make it 24-20. 2:49 left to play. Both teams have all of their timeouts remaining. Extra point is good. Look at Newton. Newton came really backwards on the extra point.
There's Gene Lockhart talking to Danny White. I think Lockhart's telling him how to fight. Look, you throw left, right, right, left. He's telling him how to get a middle linebacker. Go to the ribs, he's saying.
16-10, that's a final score. Green Bay beat Minnesota. This final as well as that confused AFC East. Miami beat Philadelphia. Cleveland over Cincinnati. The Jets trailing 42-20 in the fourth quarter. New Orleans in the fourth beating Houston. The Rams have taken the lead over Atlanta. And with the Minnesota loss today, the Rams still could make the playoff.
Tell you, if nothing else, the Rams ought to get the comeback team of 1987. Because remember when we saw them, in fact, we saw them the day after they traded Eric Dickerson, and they weren't very good at that time.
Everybody looked very sad. 24-20, Washington leads Dallas with 2:49 left to play.
There's a guy who does a good job of coaching, John Robinson. I think we have two here in this game. Tom Landry, over the years, one of the best that's ever been on the sideline. And Joe Gibbs, maybe the best right now in the NFL for what he does with a group of players.
You're right about John Robinson, too. Ruzek's kickoff goes to Verdun at the 8. He is cut down at the 25. 18-yard return stopped by Albritton and Scott.
Here's Danny White's 154th career touchdown. And again, it's that zip, that slant into Rod Barksdale. And that's been a big play for the Cowboys today. And I'm sure they're thinking right now, if we can get that ball back, we can hit some more of those slants.
They've got to have a touchdown. First down, Redskins at their own 26. You have to be very careful with your use of the timeouts now. Rodgers over the right side, stopped by Burton first. And a timeout, Dallas.
So I know what Tom Landry's thinking now is he had 3 timeouts, and he's going to get 1 at the 2-minute. So unless the Redskins pass, they'll take another timeout, 1 more timeout, and the 2-minute warning. And if they stop them, they'll get the ball back with 1 timeout left.
Schrader comes over to visit with Gibbs over on the sideline. Next Saturday here on CBS. It starts at noon Eastern time with the NFL Today, and then the Packers face the Giants. And after that, number 5 ranked North Carolina, the Tar Heels against the Fighting Illini, live at 3:45 Eastern time. Dexter Manley shouldn't have a problem staying warm.
But I'll tell you one thing, if there's anyone who represents that group over in Washington that really hates the Cowboys, that's the Cowboys. I think Dexter Manley is the top of that list. I mean, he tries to keep that thing going every year, every day, off season, during the season.
That touchdown by Dallas, by the way, is the first point scored against the Redskins in the last 5 games in the last quarter. Kelvin Bryant has replaced George Rogers. Schrader gives on a draw play to Bryant, who's got some room. And maybe not quite a first down. Victor Scott stopped him after he picked up 8, and that's going to be close.
Of course, that's the thing. Once you start taking those timeouts, you can't allow the other team to get a first down. If they do, that knocks everything off.
Well, they just took another one, the Cowboys did. By the way, this game is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Washington Redskins and the National Football League is prohibited. It's going to be about a foot short of a first down.
And Jay Schrader is coming over the sideline to talk to Joe Gibbs. And I bet I know what play they come up with, because they do it in short yardage and goal line now all the time. Used to be John Riggins. Now it's a quarterback sneak, because Jay Schrader is so big and so strong, they just let him keep it. See if his eyes have gotten bigger. When you tell him, hey, you got to do it.
Well, he's gotten his message from Joe Gibbs as to what he thinks he should do.
And I bet, again, it's a quarterback sneak.
Which is, in most cases, very effective.
Well, it is. And if it's not effective, if the play, whatever this short yardage play, doesn't work, there's no way the Redskins can go for it. They'd have to punt, and then the Cowboys are going to get some shots at them.
Rogers and Branch are the 2 running backs. Didier's on the move. They give it back to Rogers, and I don't know. It's going to be close. Downs came up. I think he got it.
They didn't look like they got a lot of movement over there in the Cowboys.
If they did get it, they can just about run things out now. They'll stop.
And if they didn't get it, I think they have to punt it. They got it.
They got it. Now the Cowboys have 1 more timeout remaining and the 2-minute warning remaining.
Let's watch that surge up in the right side. Donnie Warren gets a good block. He's the guy that gets the movement. Then they get a good lead by Branch in there. And by the time Downs gets there, Rogers already has the first down.
So the clock stops now with 2 minutes remaining, and Washington up by 4 over Dallas. Tonight on CBS, can the Wild West tame a wild, wild kid? A big city juvenile delinquent. Tonight on 60 Minutes. Followed by Murder, She Wrote, starring Angela Lansbury. Then a special Hallmark Hall of Fame presentation, Foxfire, starring Hume Cronin, Jessica Tandy, and John Denver. That's tonight on CBS. First down, Redskins. 2 minutes left. Sends Rogers left side. A gain of 3. Tom Landry on that first down wanted a measurement. He was really upset. Ernie Stotner alongside. He's upset.
Well, I've always thought that anytime, again, it's on that 4th down play, and I know the rule used to be that anytime you ask for a measurement, they'd give you one. And they didn't give the Cowboys a measurement on that 4th down play. Of course, once the Redskins got the first down, then the Cowboys can't do anything about it anymore because they don't have any more timeouts after this one.
This is their last one that they're in the middle of right now. It'll bring up a 2nd and 7 situation. The ball is at the Redskin 39. Washington with 1 minute and 51 seconds to kill. It hasn't been easy.
I don't think anyone thought it would be easy. I know when we were at the Redskins practice yesterday, I didn't have a feeling any of them thought today would be easy.
Rodgers again, right side. Protecting the football, and now they can't stop it again. Ron Burton made the stop after Rodgers got 2.
You know, it'll be an interesting thing after 3rd down what the Redskins do on 4th down, because they are going to have a 4th down play if they don't pick up the first here.
They're going to take their time in the huddle this time. Jeff Bostic, the starting center, has done a whale of a job since he got the regular job back. 3rd down and 5. Rodgers again. And it's going to bring up a 4th. He's stopped by Danny Noonan. A gain of 2 and a penalty marker down, and that will stop the clock.
I think it's going to be against the Cowboys. That'll not only stop the clock, it'll give the Redskins a 1st down, and really, for all intent and purposes, end this thing.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 40 defense, piling on after the play.
Penalty called against Bill Bates, and as John Madden just said, for all intents and purposes, that finishes it, because that's an automatic 1st down.
Well, here you're going to see the play end, and there's Bates right there at the end. He comes diving in, head, elbow first, and knee second.
Would have been 4th down. 1:03 left to play, and Schrader now can just run it out because the Cowboys are out of timeouts. Their record will drop. The Dallas Cowboys have missed the playoffs in 3 of the last 4 seasons after 9 straight years of being in the playoffs. They haven't had back-to-back losing seasons since the middle of the 60s.
I think they're still arguing about that 4th down call over there.
32 seconds now, a half minute left. That should do it. The Redskins hang on. Washington 24, the Cowboys 20. Washington still hoping for that home field advantage as the playoffs approach. For John Madden, then, this is Pat Summerall saying so long from RFK Stadium, where the final score was Washington 24, Dallas 20. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station.